Here we go. That's right. Friday night in New York. It's going to be great, guys. What an outstanding week we have right now for you with games, devices, new hardware, conversation, debates. It's built for CrossFire, and I've got a panel assembled for you guys tonight that you're just going to love. I've got so much content, and I've got so little time. So much content, so little time. So let me just say this much. If you guys will take a moment, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're already at 11,200 from 11,000 just a short time ago. So, it really means a lot to me that you guys are coming to the channel. You're sticking with me. We're doing Monday night podcasts. Want to get a couple of videos out. Want to definitely do something on PSVR2. I think that's going to be interesting. I saw that, and we have the great Persona that's here. Persona did an outstanding unboxing, so make sure you go over and check out Gaming with Persona on YouTube. He did an unbelievable unboxing. But I'm going to go ahead and just do some live footage, showing the device, me playing the game, and then some commentary. We're going to get a little bit of that cooking over the weekend, but I do want to say thanks to all the Mooch Maniacs. Shout out again also to DC Gaming and Kratos99, two guys in the gaming community that have legit made this channel grow and just help me out in the past 6 months like unbelievable. And let me just shout out each one of these Mooch Maniac family members one by one. That's right above that beautiful description. You'll see that join button. That's how you become one if you want to become one. But it really does help the channel. And I can't say thank you enough to the great Sir X-Man, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, MumbleRanting Gaming, Tyson Web 509, TrueWiddy, Big Chuck 777, Alphonso Carter, BRAP, Jamie, Damion, the great Jimmy Harrison, who's here, Andy Hart, Isaac Gentry, Red Hood 420, Hamsolo05, go check out Ham, Rob Jones, Dad of War, I see him in the chat as well, Night Ripper 7, Toto Dope, Kratos99, Thumbs, shout out to Thumbs, JC2013, that's a great name, but Jay, I see you in the chat as well. Get this work, probably one of the best names ever on YouTube. Ice Queen Gaming, shout out to Dawn, Arch War Angel, and RP Gaming, our major Mooch Maniacs, Gavin House, Captain Crunch, T-Rock 40, shout out to T-Rock, Derek A, Low Key Poppy, Cridge 91, Portal Forever, Sammy Prescott Jr., Brian East, Audible Fart 507, Gadget, Mr. Me, I'm Enrich the Swag, Mr. Den, Tarantino, Vibe Worldwide, PlayStation Trophy, Jack Reeves, Versus, Mansquizitor FD, Sergeant 12, Seattle Chef, Muck 45, Michael Kimona Jr., Nola Origins, Newtonian, your boy Roy, who I've also seen in the chat, Scolari Brothers, Smokes 901, DC Gaming, Miko, Gaming with Persona, NJ Bar, who got What's Up PlayStation is back 11 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Go over and check those guys out, and you're going to hear from them in a minute. Supreme Samurai, Tactical Gamer, Danelle Brown, Tech Guy Smitty, 4-Star General, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and our VIP Mooch Maniacs, Domino Zero, Marty the Ambassador Bison, Shadow Assassin, Strictly! Shout out to Strictly Gaming and the Wise Old Gamer. And our honorable mentions. You guys are out there without food, water, or toilet. I'm very concerned. Brosy Brosum, Raji, Chris713, Julian Johnson, Percolator 9000, Hustle and Motivate, Slain Chilean, and Truth Serum. And our forever Mooch Maniacs, Longshot 316, and the great Optimus Code. Guys, we got a great show for you. Please, like I said, hit the like button, tweet it out, let everybody know that you know that we are live. We got our first super chat. The super chat's working. It's a miracle. Domino Zero says, it's my birthday tomorrow. The super chat's working. Happy birthday, Domino. And thank you so much for that, buddy. Always great to have conversation with you about gaming as well. I see Jack Reeves. But let me get into this outstanding panel. And there's more people joining. We've got about at least another 2 or 3 people joining us tonight. It is going to be a great show. Let me start with the one and only. You guys might know him as Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. But tonight he's Tinfoil BRAP. BRAP, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, Mooch. I'm here for the conspiracies and conjecture.
Well, I would hope so. We need somebody on the other side of the coin, BRAP.
Yes, we do.
Well, you're doing your due diligence.
I've got my tinfoil hat on as we speak.
I hope it's not. I hope it's not irritable.
No, it's Reynolds wrap, so it's good tinfoil.
Okay, I don't want you to get a rash. That's fine. As long as it's wearable. That's all I care about. I want comfort during the show, BRAP. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Shout out to Passive Profit. Welcome to the Mooch Maniacs family member, buddy. I appreciate that. Passive, thank you. Let's get into our special guest here. You guys know him as Gaming with Persona. You might know him as Persona Speaks. Who knows? But I got news for you. He does Monday night shows. He does Saturday morning shows. He does unboxings. He does gaming talk. He's here to talk a little bit about PSVR2. The great Gaming with Persona is with us tonight. Persona, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. Shout out to you, Mooch. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the chat, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I'm definitely happy to be here.
Yes.
Can't wait to talk about all the great news that we got going on today, man. It's a lot of news this week. Some might be in virtual reality. Who knows?
You never know.
But,
That's the best part.
But I'm excited to be here, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Thanks for having me, Mooch. Appreciate the invite.
Yo, appreciate that, Persona. But like, we can't talk Persona without the other half of What's Up PlayStation. The great Jay Bari is back. Jay, we spent so much time together this past week. It's been phenomenal. He joined me on the Reactions podcast. I recommend you guys all check that out another time after this show. The great Jay Bari's here. Jay, how you doing this evening?
Yo, what's good, guys, man? We are back. CrossFire, it's going to go down. A lot of VR talk. I see the topics, Mooch, as always. You know what I mean? You got like about 20 odd topics, but we only going to get 3 of them.
Yo, Jay, I'm like that. I'm like your buddy in high school that when they said a 5-page paper, he wrote 15. Not because it's more actual knowledge. I just was adding it with fluff. You know what I mean? You got hand in more.
Nah, man, but it's great to be here, man. Appreciate the invite as always, man, and can't wait to talk about some of this gaming news, man. So let's get it.
I appreciate that, Jay. And then I've got my boy. Well, he also joined us on a Reactions podcast just about, what was it now? I want to say 2 weeks ago. The great Maniac Giant is back. You guys know him from Gaming Beyond the Box. Maniac, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great.
You sound great.
I do. I feel great.
Yeah, I want to say thanks everybody for coming. And Mooch, thanks for the invite today. That was an awesome way to open my inbox on Twitter.
Absolutely.
And just lots of stuff happened this week.
Yeah, buddy.
News.
Don't feel. Listen, as you know well enough,
hands-on stuff.
Just shout out your opinion whenever you're ready, Maniac. Don't wait for me to call on you, buddy. When you got something to say, you jump in there, buddy. I appreciate you being here. And last but certainly not least, and won't be least, you guys know him as TCMF. The great TC is back on the show, and I had to sign a contract with him. It was a 10-year binding agreement not to talk about ABK deals ever again. The great TC is back to talk video games with us. TC, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Excited to talk about PlayStation VR2. ABK, you can throw that out the window. We've talked about this topic on this channel so many times. It's always the same conversations. I'm for it, but at this point, I'm here to talk PlayStation VR2. Excited about that.
Okay, well, let's get right into it. And, I like to put the guests on the hot seat first and foremost. I'll start with, I'm going to start with Persona here because Persona, I've got to go to you first here because you were on CrossFire last week. We had an in-depth discussion on everything we knew at the time, PSVR2. And you said, listen, we got to wait till we get to use this device. We've got to play the games, and then we'll talk about it. So the first thing I want to say to you real quick, Persona, let's talk about everything as we go through the VR2 system here. And number one for me is I want to talk about form, fit, and function, right? And then we're going to get into the games. Just get a little bit to the audience here for people that don't know VR. Maybe they're just coming into VR for the first time. How does PSVR2 separate itself from the PSVR1 and how it feels, how you know what I mean? The whole ergonomics, the whole nine. I really want to get your take from the experience out of the box to playing to the game. So what did you think, Persona?
Oh yeah, that's a great set of questions. I love it. Mooch puts me in the hot seat. So when it comes to the PlayStation VR 1 versus 2, VR 2 is definitely has a better build quality, especially when it comes to the cushioning on the front of the headset. Also the type of the wrap that goes around, like how it fits on your head, is much more flexible, so it doesn't feel stiff if you're playing longer VR sessions as opposed to the PlayStation VR 1. Also, the rubber padding on the inside of the VR itself, it's thicker.
Yes,
it feels more premium. And it when you go in there, when you put your when it's there, it's dark. It's like being in a bat cave. You don't see nothing till that screen pop up, man. Ain't no light getting through. It's a black hole. Pause. But it's definitely a much more comfortable experience using the PlayStation VR 2 as opposed to the VR 1, and even down to how you set up the PlayStation VR 2. For anyone that has had the PSVR 1, you know that you needed to be a rocket scientist in order to set this thing up. You need to have a PhD from Harvard. That's right. You understand? You needed to know how to do it. With PSVR 2, man, it's one simple cord. It's like 14 feet long. Very simple, very easy, and that's it, right? Because the PlayStation 5 is doing all the heavy lifting when it comes to the actual games themselves. And for me, I think the longest session that I did was about 2.5 hours, and that's when I was playing after the fall.
Okay.
No, after the fall is about an hour, but I think Horizon might have been about an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. And it's very light. It's very light,
That's
man. Like,
important.
it's a very light and comfortable headset, man. If you're thinking, if you're playing long sessions, it may feel uncomfortable. Nah, man, it's very, very comfortable headset, man. I love it.
So, now I'll go to TC. TC, what did you think? I mean, I like how Persona really went into that. And I know we're going to get into the games. I got the whole list here. But more importantly than me just running through a list of games, TC, a lot of people are talking about just the controllers, the way that you dock them, the way that you can actually, the headset being light, like Persona just said. These are key things from last generation's VR headsets that really kept people from playing more than a half an hour, 40 minutes. So TC, real quick, just your overall fit, form, and function on it before we get into the game. What'd you think, TC?
So far it's been pretty good. I will say, so let's talk about some of the positives. The headset is comfortable. It's amazing that there's only one wire.
Yes.
I feel like it's just such a day and night difference of just pulling out the headset, putting in one wire, and not dealing with the box and having this whole thing and this whole situation. Did it plug into the HDMI? Did I plug the HDMI into that box? That whole nine is ridiculous. But plugging in one wire inside the headset is great. Visuals are sharp. The eye tracking, the first time I witnessed that, and just I've never had something track my eyes like I did on PlayStation VR2 when you're doing through the setup. Mm-hmm. It's just such a weird, but it caught me off guard. I just started laughing. I was like, this thing is just literally, I'm trying to test it out. Like, can I get to this before it gets it highlights this? No, it's super fast and tracks all of that. The games that I've played so far have been Horizon, After the Fall, and Zombieland. I have GT7, I have RE8, I have a couple of other games, but I'm taking it slow right now. But sorry, did you want to say something?
No. I'm enjoying what you're saying. I want the commentary. I want to know actually what you thought of there's a couple of dials with TC when you're getting the headset straightened out that you can actually move north to south, if you will. I don't know if it's east to west. I can't remember. But it moves the actual eyes inside the lenses left and right. Did you find that some of these enhancements that they've made since the first VR to be helpful or not so much?
Well, it's helpful. Are you talking about the setup process?
No, not the setup process. The actual physical locations. There's actually a scroll dial to where you can actually move the lenses.
For your IPD.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the IPD setup here. I don't think PSVR1 even had something like that. I don't think so. This is a nice leap forward to have something like that to just give you a better it's supposed to set it up very custom for your eyes. How far are your eyes from each other? Are you a lizard looking to the sides? We don't know. It's just meant to help you adjust all of that. And I love that there's an actual process that tells you you want to make this make sure your eyes are in the center and then line it up and you can see it getting crisper and crisper as you're adjusting that. And PSVR1 didn't have any of that. And beyond that, of course, you have the front thing where you can move the headset forward and, adjust the back. And I've seen some people talk about blurriness as well. Yes. I think people just need to adjust their headsets, even other VR headsets. If you don't have your headset on properly, they're all going to look blurry. But I've heard I've seen people just pounding videos out about blurriness, and I'm like, okay, I'm investigating this. What's going on? Mm-hmm. And then the solution that people are giving is to adjust your setup process, essentially to go through the IPD dial, go through eye tracking again. Maybe you need to reset that part up and stuff like that. Yeah. But I've heard people go through that and they're still getting some of that blurriness. And I think it's just a matter of moving your head, because this time around, compared to PlayStation VR 1, I think there's more people getting VR that have never touched VR ever before. Yes. So they assume I'm just putting this thing on. I've set up the process at the beginning. It should look crisp no matter how I put it on. But no, this thing is supposed to line up with your eyes, with your head, and it's just a matter of moving it around. I know this firsthand because I have a buddy of mine who got PSVR2, first VR headset he's ever had. I have another buddy of mine who's borrowing my Quest 2 so we can play After the Fall together, all three of us. Mm-hmm. And him, I have to I was on a call with him, just assisting him, getting through his setup and stuff like that, because again, new people to VR think it's just like boom, it's on my head. I should automatically see everything.
That's a good point. Go ahead.
Well, not only that, just to add on to that real quick, especially if you're, playing certain gaming sessions. So when I was playing Star Wars, certain games you're gonna put in a little workout. So it might be a little bit of perspiration, So you want to make sure that you're also cleaning the lens with a microfiber or whatever.
Yes.
Because it fogged up or whatever. But also when you're sitting the headset on your head, it's supposed to sit at an angle and not necessarily like straight, because that also I noticed, whenever you kind of tilt it up a little bit, tighten it and kind of sit it at an angle, the image is clear for me. So that might be helpful for people who might be having that issue.
I like what both
the
of you.
back band is supposed to go way down, like under your ears, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's important that you guys are saying that, because I hear a lot of people.
It makes it feel a little bit more natural too. Like I remember when I first put it on, I was putting it on PlayStation VR 1, kind of having an angle like that. And yeah, you're going to get that blurriness if it's not in that perfect area. But, play around with it. I don't understand why people just can't, adjust around it. Like, don't be so quick to be on Twitter, be like, hey, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Actually try to figure things out first, and then you can go on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's pure craziness, because even when I was playing Gran Turismo, I was adjusting my headset and I was like, okay, this is feels more natural how the headset's supposed to fit. And from there, I'll just tighten it, and it was just perfectly clear for me, with everything else. So
no, that's a good point, Jay. And I wanted to go to you next. I want to say shout out to the great Kratos99. Thank you for gifting those subs out to everybody. And shout out to the great Zuby Tech as well. Sir X-Man says, I miss Mooch and crap on Sunday mornings. I do too. Sunday mornings don't feel the same without it. I'm with you, the great Sir X-Man. I appreciate that. Jay, what did you think? What is your overall experience from out of the box? And I'm glad that Persona, Maniac, and TC kind of brought that up. This is not a baseball cap. You don't just put it on your head and then head to the mall. There is some adjustment, and you'll see, actually, I have video up right now. Everything from the unboxing to this helpful video that PlayStation put out to another play-by-play using the headset. You do have to finesse it to your head. This is a one-size-fits-all. So there does take a little bit of...
Yeah.
You right?
Some of y'all got some weird-ass shaped heads, so, you know what I mean? Let me chill. But as far as, my first experience with it, real talk, shout out to PlayStation, man, and just streamlining the process and setting this thing up. I remember back with PSVR 1, you know what I mean? As much as I liked it at the time, looking at those stickers, oh, this is 1. Okay, this lines up with 1. This is 2. Oh, this lines up with 2. This is 3. This lines up with 3. This process is just, okay, plug this thing in that one little port, and that's it, man. It is such a drastic difference as far as setting this thing up. I like how fun and engaging the tutorial was as well. They made it fun. You know what I mean? It's not just this boring text. They're showing you visuals and how you should put on your headset, how getting used to all the buttons and the dials that's on there is giving you one-to-one tutorials, and then when you actually put the headset on, it got a nice little imagery and nice little tutorial again, and then scanning the whole room made me feel like I was in the future. Yes. I was like, wow, this is really cool, man. And the setting up your play area, like a lot of things that PlayStation VR 2 is doing, it's pretty much catching up to the industry, because the industry, when it comes to other VR headsets, they've been coming out at a rapid pace, while PlayStation only had one back in 2016, and back then, it was just a baseline thing for them, a starting point for them. But other platforms like PC, they were just pumping out VR headsets and certain things, after you coming from PC, you expect. But now with PSVR 2, I feel like a lot of those things that the PC headsets have done, they caught up with those features and setup process and things like that, which is cool. Like the pass-through view. That was amazing to see, because anybody coming from PSVR 1, you already know the vibes. You gotta, push the headset out or lift it up a little,
or
bit.
peek through the bottom. Just peek through the bottom, just to make sure what's going on. But with PSVR 2, you can't see nothing.
You know what I mean? That's one thing Persona brought up too, which I think they did a great job. Is like the comfortability and there's no light that is coming through this thing. It's pitch black in there. They did a great job as far as covering and blocking all the light. Overall, the headset feels really comfortable. Like I played this thing the day one. I played this thing like 6 hours straight.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I was jumping from game to game. Then I went back to Horizon. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get through that a little bit. And first and foremost, you know what I mean, off of a full charge of the Sense controllers, it lasted for 6 hours until I got like a notification like, your battery is low. And that's, like I said, that's me jumping from like 4 different games, using it. And yeah, like I didn't feel any weight weighing down on me. It didn't feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? There was no eye strain. It just felt good. Like it's just a big monumental leap from the first VR to this one. Like the clarity and everything is just much, much better. The LOD lenses or screening is just way better. It's much more vivid. It's much more bright. Yeah, I've been having a good time with it, man. Like I really enjoy it. I think they nailed it as far as the feel, the features, the hardware, the controller, which I don't know how people are confusing themselves putting it on, but the setup process was so good. It highlights everything for you, Mooch. I don't get it. It got me questioning the industry, man. That's all I got to say.
It does have you people questioning the people that are game. And listen, I got to be honest with you. Let's talk about the 800-pound elephant in the room, right? Everybody wants to talk about it. Shout out to X-Hawk in the chat. He goes, Mooch, you got to ask this question. So I'll throw it out there as a volleyball. TC, Persona, J. Maniac, sure. Any of you guys, I know the only reason I leave BRAP is I know BRAP has not purchased his PSVR2 yet. I know that FOMO will set in and we will get BRAP on VR at some point. But what do you guys think about the one wire? Is the one wire in the way for you guys, or do you not even know it's there? Talk to me.
So I commented on this on my video today. So the one wire is great. Most of the time, I personally don't notice it, but there are times where I'm playing After the Fall and there's a lot of turning in that game. Like there's zombies behind you, in front of you, up, everywhere. So once you're like turning around a few good times, you tend to notice the wire is there. You tend to notice it because it kind of wraps around you just a bit, unless you're like, you kind of just have it on your back and then just let it sway while you're moving out in different directions.
Yes.
But at one point, you'll definitely feel it. But for the most part, I kind of just don't think about it.
Yeah, I'm with you, TC. Like, mostly, like if you're playing it in the, like sitting down mode or whatnot.
You're not feeling anything if you're sitting down.
How you want to play it. If you're sitting down, you're not going to feel it. But if you're playing like an active game, it's possibility you're going to feel it. Like, but yeah, it's not bothersome to me. But like I watched like a VR channel, and this person, he had like a clip on his back of his shirt with the wire going, because the wire is pretty
smart.
Long. You know what I mean? Smart. So I was like, I think I might just get me a clip, you know, because when you play Horizon and you climbing, you're so into it, like, you definitely feel the wire there. But I don't have an issue with a wire, to be honest with you, because I've used things like MetaQuest 2, and I see the big difference from wireless to plugging into a PC. And honestly, for a VR experience, I don't want that dip in quality when I go wireless. So I just say, I think it was smart for them just to make sure the console experience is just streamlined throughout all your experience. Plug the bad boy in, and then you're gonna have you're just gonna have that same experience whatever game that you're playing.
Shout out to go ahead, Persona. Ghostface says one wire is greater than one screw. Remember the one screw controversy, Persona. So please.
I think I agree with everyone saying, man. I personally don't have an issue with the wire. I was playing Star Wars last night. I was up because that's a very active game as well. Not as active as something like Horizon, but you are like pulling the pouch and using your inventory and clipping the gun and all this other stuff. And playing that, I didn't necessarily feel distracted by the wire, because it's listen, this is a long ass wire, man. Like you can go, not to be, not being funny, but you could go from your living room to your bathroom with this shit, man. That's how long the goddamn wire is, man. This shit is like 16 feet long, man. Like this thing is a long ass wire. So I don't really see it being a big issue, personally speaking, but only time will tell. As of right now, I don't really see it. I have an issue with it.
Peniac, what do you think? Do you agree with the sentiments of the panel so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I had the one for a while. Actually won it on a Facebook contest from PlayStation Canada, so I didn't have to buy it. So
very cool. Nice. Mooching 101, outstanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But I didn't play it a ton, but the wire already is just, it's a massive improvement, because that PSVR 1 wire it was 2, right? It was thick, it was heavy, and even sitting down playing, you knew the wire was there. Like you could, you know, it was pretty cumbersome. But this one is like, it's long, it's flexible, it's light, and you just don't notice it.
Well, let me say,
the setup process is very clean. Like I literally take that thing out and then just wrap my wire and then slot it into my media system. That's it. Nothing else. No breakout. I can't stress how nice that is.
No,
no breakout box, no HDMI switch, none of that crap.
They also been suggesting like extenders. Like if you think the wire is too short, you know, depending on your where you hook up the VR.
Wait. If you think the wire is too short.
Yeah, what? Because I was watching like I think his name is Gamertag VR. He was suggesting if anybody wants to extend the cord, you can. Like they have like extensions that he put the links in there and all that stuff. So.
Really? So it's a USB-C adapter, basically female to male,
like
and you can just
that you can extend it. And he had like it was long as hell.
Dude's gonna be in the garage with their VR, boy.
Because you don't need the TV. That thing just has to be plugged in. You can be anywhere. You can take that wire, go all the way up to your room or whatever. You know, be in your room, and somebody could be in the living room, and nobody's bothering you.
Mm-hmm. No, you know, TC. TC. You brought up a point, and Jay Barry, he brought it up, and TC goes, "Well, yeah, if you're sitting down, guys, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm not by no means am I a VR expert, but when I do play, I would say I'm probably 80 to 90%. I stand up. So like, are you guys sitting down for gaming or with VR? Or are you standing up?
I'm standing up all the time because that's the full experience. The thing is, I have my buddies, new people to VR. They both sit down, but I assume they sit down because they're used to console gaming, and maybe standing up doesn't help with the motion sickness for them.
It depends on the game. It depends on the game because
they'll be playing After the Fall, or one of my buddies will be playing. They're playing every game sitting down. Every game, like Gran Turismo 7, sure, I'll sit down. That's for the experience.
Definitely sit down for that.
But if you're playing,
like the games that have the God view, I'll sit down. Like Moss, I sit down. Kayak,
that's understandable. That's understandable. Yeah, because you're using a controller at that point. Well, I guess the Sense controllers are pretty much your controller, or you can use the DualSense, I think. But yeah, like for something like After the Fall, I can't sit down. Horizon, I can't. I just do. That's not the experience. I have to stand up and just taking the whole thing. If there's an apple on the floor that I gotta eat, you know, to give myself health, I'm gonna crouch down and grab that apple.
It's funny too because you know in After the Fall, you know the people that's sitting down because their character looks like they're crouching.
It looks goofy. The characters are like scrunched down. You know who's sitting down and you know who's standing up. It's very clear.
For Pavlov, if you want to go prone, you actually have to actually lay down on the ground.
Yeah, I don't got this full space for that to lie down on that, but no, I haven't gotten Pavlov. That's one of the next game I want to. I played it on Quest, but oh my goodness, one of the points I was making is just the difference between because I'm telling my buddies like to understand. So one of my buddies has my Quest 2, but he hasn't played on PSVR 2, so he doesn't know. My other buddy, he tried out Quest 2, but his first VR is PSVR 2. I've sunk in a lot of time on PSVR 1, Quest 2, a lot of time, and then jumping over to PSVR 2, and I'm playing like After the Fall, Zombieland, and so noticing the day and night difference from playing on Quest to coming to PSVR 2. It's disgusting how much of a difference it is. Even for something like After the Fall didn't really look like a game I was like, wow, this is pretty. But in like After the Fall on PSVR 2, I'm like just seeing lighting I didn't notice before, particles just floating in the air I didn't notice before.
Somebody said the same thing too. We met somebody and they played it from Quest 2, and they got their PS5 day of PSVR came out and their PSVR 2, and it was like, this is a big difference here. It looks way better.
Huge.
Like
Huge difference. Even like the arcades that you walk up to, there's like detail in all of them. I've literally walked up to characters. Again, After the Fall isn't Horizon, but it's just such a stark difference to notice it from. Like I've taken screenshots of After the Fall because so many different parts. I'm like, this actually looks really good. You're not seeing me take pictures of the Quest 2 version. I'm not taking any pictures of that one. That was purely focused on gameplay. But yeah.
Well, let me ask this question.
I forgot the question, honestly. I don't know what the question was.
You answered the question, TC. I want to ask BRAP. BRAP, if you're here, I wanted to ask a quick question to you, buddy. I want to get a standpoint from somebody that's not necessarily in the market right now, maybe in the future. But BRAP, when you hear all of this, are there questions that you had about PSVR2 for the panel? These guys have been experiencing these games nonstop, round the clock since Wednesday. Is there anything, BRAP, what's keeping you from making this purchase? Because there's other people in the audience that are in your exact same predicament.
I think for me, it just I'm just backlogged really bad right now, and
Yeah.
I just don't know if I want to add like a new device with more content.
Understood.
That's where I'm at. But it looks interesting. Like it was really cool to see a lot of the screenshots and just seeing the excitement around PSVR2. I feel like there's more excitement around PSVR2 than the first PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
And I got to say, like state of play, like it didn't really move the needle for me. The PSVR2 stuff they showed was pretty cool.
You know, it's funny you say that, though, BRAP. I agree with you, and I think that there was a revolution that kind of happened, right? Now, you have to give credit where credit's due. You've heard TC say it, you've heard Jay Barry say it, Persona, that the Quest, the Meta Quest 2, as it goes by now, that did a lot of good for VR as a whole, as did PSVR, which was probably the number one peripheral in that category for a set period of years. The point of the matter is what BRAP's saying is that now I'm seeing there's dedicated YouTube channels to just VR. And we've listed a bunch of them over the course of the past few weeks. I've done it on Twitter. I've recommended to a few people, go check out these folks. They're not necessarily in the gaming community that we all kind of are near and dear to, but nonetheless, they still have outstanding channels and they cover the technology so well. It's really something that's kind of growing. It's booming. And I think we're still at the very beginning of all of this. So, BRAP, I appreciate you kind of saying that. Let's get into the games real quick here. Persona.
Yo, one thing I want to talk about before we move on to the games is some of the cons as far as just like.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, this is the pros and cons. I'm sorry, my fault, guys. I
feel like PlayStation should have. This is a small gripe, but they should have added like a second USB cord in there.
USB-C?
Yeah, like I feel like if you don't have the dock to charge the controllers. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure everybody have like a secondary cord or whatnot, but it's just like, you gave one cord to charge two controllers. You know what I mean? It don't sit well with me. I know it's a small thing. Some people might not care, whatever. But one thing I do want that I wish they implemented on the headset was like a mute button on there. I know you can change the function button to mute, but that means you're gonna lose the pass through, quick button on there. But yeah, I feel like.
Are you not using a headset?
No, I mean, yeah, you can use your headset for sure. But like I was playing After the Fall and things like that. The mic quality sounds really good from the headset. But like VR1, even though I like the setup better on VR2, the headset that came with VR1, you had that little dock thing. Not the dock thing, but a little dongle thing that had to mute, turn up the volume, all that stuff. I feel like now that you just have to go through a little bit of a layer to turn up the volume or to mute.
What do you use? What do you use for your audio? Or do you use the TV? Or do you use the?
Oh, no, I use everything. So I use the earbuds that it came with. I use my pulses and I use the H9s as well. But I'm just saying, like, say somebody that don't have a pulse or don't have an H9, you're just gonna use it just out of the box. You know, like. I wish the headset itself just had like a mute button or even an earbud. That's all. It's just a little smaller, Greg.
So can you better explain that, TC or Jay, whoever wants to take the mic here? When it comes, this is something that I have seen on Twitter time and time again now over the past couple of days when they're talking about raising or lowering the volume. I know what you're talking about, Jay. Before on the PSV1, it had that little bump out on the cord. And you used to be able to raise your volume. You could mute. You could do whatever. Yeah. Now that without that being there this time, what are the appropriate steps for raising or lowering the volume or muting?
You just press the PS button and go into your sound. You know what I mean?
You have the card, the PSVR2 card.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if you have like a Pulse headset or H9s or any type of headset, you're gonna be Gucci. I'm just saying, like, some people that's probably getting into that, they might not have that. You know what I mean? But it's a small little gripe. I wish they would just clean up. That's all.
I was originally using the Pulse headsets, but I've gotten... So one of the things that with the PS5, they only have one port for USB-C. Every other port is USB-A. So I have my Razer Kyra Pros, their USB-C dongle on the PS5. So I couldn't plug in the PSVR2 and use my Razers. so I had to use the Pulse. But I got an adapter to convert the USB-C for Razer to a USB-A, and I'm using both right now. And now I have like haptics on the headset itself, the headphones, and the headset of the VR, and on the control. We didn't even talk about the controllers.
Get into it.
Yo,
Absolutely.
facts, like how light the controllers. Yo, a lot of things been shocking me about like, yo, this thing is light as hell. I didn't think it was going to be so light. But the Sense controllers, they feel good.
Mm-hmm.
One gripe with the Sense controllers too, as well. I know people gonna chew me, they gonna kick me in my shins. It's like the PlayStation button.
Oh, okay.
No, it's the PlayStation button. I wish it was a little bit raised up.
Yeah, they're a little.
You know what I mean?
They're kind of buried
they're too flushed in. Yeah.
I dropped one of mine already, and it still works. So they're sturdy too. So.
Well, that's good. We did a drop test. I appreciate that, Peniac. Thank you. No. I think
it was not intentional.
So we got to go back to a thing that TC said, because I was wondering the same thing. I have the Steel Series 7Ps that also use the USB-C dongle.
Oh, so, yeah. You gotta get an adapter. I got like a case of 3 on Amazon.
Yep.
Just because I was not gonna. Again, for everybody who uses Pulse headsets, they're great, but I can't revert from my Kyra Pros back to the Pulse. But it's just an adapter, and it works. That was my biggest worry, that if I did use this adapter, is it just the signal's not going to work, something's not going to work? It works. You can use an adapter for a USB-C dongle headset, plug it in, and you're good to go. You can play using your headset. And the thing I like, again, going back to it, the head haptics of the thing, the PSVR2, I was convinced by people that this thing is light, like the vibrations are light. So for me, maybe I have a sensitive head, I'm not sure, but the vibrations that when you play After the Fall, when you get shot in that game, it's like boom all over your head, boom on the controllers, boom on the head. You feel all of that, and it's not a slight vibration, it's a pretty decent vibration. And then for me, when I have the Razer Kyra Pros, when one of those enemies, I don't know what you call them, they're like they blow up in After the Fall, and they're like a stink everywhere, or something, like a gas pops up. When that thing blows up, it's like a wave across my head. Like it's just crazy. The first time I experienced putting both of them on, it was just blowing that thing up, because next time I saw one of them, I was gonna blow it up. I'm like clenching a bit because I know what's about to come, but I don't want to turn down the haptics. I don't want to turn them.
It depends on the game too, because like After the Fall, you definitely felt it, especially when you get grabbed by that Titan and he's just choking you. Like the head was shaking a lot for me. Like Horizon, you feel it a lot. Like that first opening when
that bird,
the tall net, or the storm, storm bird is like flying past you. You feel a little haptic.
You feel that.
And like when you get in combat and like say you dodge like a laser beam from like a watcher or whatnot, you feel it pass by you. Like you feel you
feel all that stuff on the controller too. Like I'm going on Horizon, we're on the boat.
Well.
I'm seeing like a tree here, and I'm seeing like, I don't know, some branch just like on the side, and I'm like just sticking my hand out just because I'm like feeling everything. I tap that thing, and I feel that tap on my right Sense controller, just that tap, and everything feels Horizon. They've done it well in terms of how the haptics feel. It feels different to hold like a rock, like a part of the mountain, to like holding a rope or some metal or something. They all have like a distinct feeling to all of them. And I know if I close my eyes, I know what I'm feeling with each of these.
With Horizon, that game, right? Like most VR games, with the floating hands is like a ghost kind of floating hands, and Horizon is like a real hand. Like you can get stuck in the vine if you're not climbing properly or whatnot. Horizon, that's why you can interact with the world so much, and you can feel like you're grabbing a rope or you're grabbing a rock or you're grabbing a stick. Like they did a really great job with Horizon, how unique that you interact with the world with.
The world in Horizon is very interactable. Like I'm like picking up like just random plates and breaking them and like flicking them on the floor and picking up branches and lighting them on fire. And then when you touch the fire, you burn your hand. I'm just like, they really did a really great job in Horizon Call to the Mountain of truly making that like feel like a true virtual world like experience with like every little detail. It's really incredible.
The only thing with Horizon that I haven't experienced with like something like After the Fall, and maybe it's I haven't noticed it as much now. I think I changed the setting for tracking, but originally I was having some tracking issues. I don't know what it was, but somebody suggested a setting change. I'm trying to remember what that setting change was that helped it. It was like some tracking support in the system, and then it helped with the tracking. I don't know if anybody experienced any tracking issues.
Horizon got a lot of like accessibility options as far as for tracking. They have like advanced controls, and
Oh no, this is inside of the PS5 itself. They have a setting inside under PlayStation VR2 and accessories. It has like, it's called support tracking or something like that. It's supposed to help with tracking issues, but I turned that on. I haven't really had any tracking issues with Horizon. Anybody's?
I haven't had any tracking issues with Horizon. Like I said, like the only thing I had is like I feel like the hand is really a hand. So like I put my hand in like a certain area, and it got caught behind like a vine, and I had to like finagle, move my hand around or move the hand gestures just to get my hand out. I was like, oh, I never experienced that in VR. Normally the hand would just go through the world, and I got it back, you know what I mean? But
I got it back.
Have you ever played The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners? They have some similar like physical so that's one of the things. So one of the upsides of like physical games like that is just the interactivity of the world, but some of the downsides is like just sometimes your hands getting like stuck in certain places or something like that, because you have to actually think about where you're putting your hand and where you're taking it out and what you're doing, instead of like regular video game stuff where you just slide through. And one thing I suggest for anybody on here, I'm playing Horizon Call of the Mountain. It's a great game. I haven't played RE8 yet, but so far from what I've played from Horizon Call of the Mountain, again, it's great. But still, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is still the best VR game I've ever played. So and it comes out in March for PSVR2 and the sequel. So anybody on here who's new to VR, play The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and 2.
Well, wait a second. So TC, I got a question for you, being the big Walking Dead fan that I am, and the audience knows this. I never bought that for any original PSVR or anything like that. Can I buy the part 1 now and play it, and then part 2 in March?
Yeah, well, part 1 isn't out yet, so the part 1 is also getting a PSVR2 upgrade. I think they released at the same time.
Oh, so they're going to give us it's going to be a 1 and 2 pack that comes out in March, is what you're saying?
It's a 1 and 2 pack, but also if you have The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1, Chapter 2 is a free upgrade, I believe.
Oh,
I mean, not Chapter 2. I mean, Chapter 1 PSVR2 is a free upgrade.
Right. No, so for me, I'm going to have to buy the entire thing, which is fine. That's totally fine. I'm a Walking Dead lunatic.
Oh, you have a lot of So I've played it on PSVR. I've played it on Quest 2. I might replay it on PSVR 2. You have a lot of content to dive into. It's going to be different than some of the VR games that we've played so far, because it's like open spaces. You're moving around different places. It's very interactive. You'll notice that. So if you like that about Horizon, The Walking Dead has a similar approach. The bag on your back, take that out. All your items in there, moving that stuff, organizing your inventory. And the thing is, you can walk up to somebody. They could have a full side quest mission thing going on for you. You could do that, but you could also just kill the person and never do any of those missions. That's the thing about that game. It's like it's the most game I've felt immersed in for VR. The close second was Resident Evil 4 for Quest 2, but I think Resident Evil 8 Village, once I play that, it's gonna top it. That's easy.
And 4 coming to VR too.
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
Don't get me started, Jay.
I'm not gonna play the remake until I get. Are you
gonna?
PSVR
You're gonna
version.
wait? I don't think I can wait. I just don't think I can wait unless I know that it's gonna be out in the next 4 weeks or something.
I can understand that.
I don't know if I can wait. I want to say a couple of things. By the way, everything TC just said was absolute gospel. It was great to hear, and I bet everybody in the audience was just watching Cammy on screen on Street Fighter 6. Nonetheless, the great Jimmy Harrison here, he said, let me tell you something. This is the best damn podcast out there. Bari, Persona, Mooch, good to see you, my brothers. And my VR is currently in transition. The great Jimmy Harrison, it's on the way to the great Jimmy Harrison's house. Jimmy, thank you so much for being here. Thanks again to the great Kratos99, by the way, also for the gifting another 5 subs. That means the world to me, too. Thank you guys so much. And Big Chuffle, I think I'm saying it right. He also just joined the channel. Thank you so much for that as well. TrueWiddy says, I'm super nearsighted. PSVR, I need to test first before I buy. Before we get into the games, anybody got any comments for TrueWiddy? What about folks that are wearing glasses? I know that this has always been something that they've accommodated, but does anyone wear glasses on the panel that also is enjoying VR that wants to comment on that?
I've had people ask. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I feel like I've been talking the whole time. Go ahead.
No, I have glasses. I need them to see far away, but it's as simple as just not. You put the headset on, you move the slider in, you do the little adjustments as you would anyway, and you're good to go.
Okay, so that's not an issue.
Don't just try not to jam it into your glasses. The only thing,
they always done a great job with PSVR 1. People that had glasses, they can put it on. VR2, people, a lot of people say the same thing. Like,
it's spacious. I wear glasses. It's spacious.
That's good to hear.
You guys said like with the one, like when I had that in with the glasses, I mean, light was totally bleeding in from everywhere, right? It didn't fit as well, but this fits almost snug and perfectly, and yeah, it's a huge improvement.
So if you guys, and by the way, I don't want to derail anything you want to talk about with the hardware, guys. That's what this show is all about. This is definitely going to be PSVR2 centric, but I want to get into the games here a bit, and just going to go ahead and read a few of them. Horizon Call of the Mountain, Tetris Effect, Gran Turismo 7, Puzzling Places. These are the ones that a lot of people have been writing about. Resident Evil, of course, Res Infinite, the Kayak VR game, which I was very grateful enough to get a review code for. I'm going to be discussing that in depth next week.
Yo, Mooch.
Yes.
Put your head in the water and then talk about it after. Sorry.
Yo, I was waiting for Persona to go pause. But no, I think that's great advice, Jay. I know a lot of people that said this is going to be the sneak up game of PSVR. People don't really think that they're going to go and buy a kayak game, but I hear it's phenomenal.
Mooch, put your head in the water, then let me know your thoughts after when you play kayak.
Talk to me later. Jay,
Pause.
Pause. Thank you.
It's I'm telling you, yo, it's crazy. I was like, let me see if I can put my head in the water, and yo, everything changes. That's all I want.
Are there haptics? Are there haptics for when you put your head in the water? I haven't gotten kayak VR yet.
The audio changes, so it actually sounds like you're underwater.
Yo, that's crazy. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people say,
what game is this?
That's the Kayak VR.
Kayak VR,
yeah, dude. I saw it. It's just one of those games. I heard it's one of the most. It can be wild, but it also can be one of the most peaceful games you ever play. And it really puts you
got
into the immersion.
You got the free roam where you can just relax. But then when you get into like a race or like a time trial, yeah, it gets competitive.
No, but are there haptics for the head when you put your head in the water? Do you feel anything?
I don't remember. It might be subtle. I got to do it again, but I know the audio completely changes where it sounds like you're in water. You know what I mean? Like everything, sound like you're in water. So I got to do it again to remember to give a proper answer. But it was.
I heard they're getting multiplayer for that game. That's probably going to be really interesting.
That would be great. Races or anything of that sort would be amazing. I think they're going to get great feedback from this game, and I think they're going to get a lot of success from it.
And it's one of the most gorgeous games too. It's beautiful. That game is beautiful. Kayak VR, beautiful.
I got a good question for the panel. When does PSVR2 hit like retail shelves? Is that like next couple weeks?
So in Canada, so my situation for launch day, I actually ordered. Nobody knows this. I ordered 3 PSVR headsets. So I had because I just wanted to, whoever was gonna give it to me, get it to me at launch day, I was gonna take that.
Yep.
None of them got to me at launch day, and then my local source at the mall near me, because does the source existing?
He's got a guy. TC's got a guy. All right, now we know.
No, we don't have the source here. Source magazine, but that's
even if not only the source, there's also Best Buy. I told my buddy who's in Toronto to get it as well. I just went up to the store, picked up a PSVR2 headset on launch day.
Store?
Yeah, because I thought that was really strange because like in the States, you guys had to order it from PlayStation Direct, right? And that was the only place. But up here, it's just everywhere. Like I can go into Walmart and buy one.
Exactly.
So
I got mine at a local GameStop because they had a promotion in January where if you traded a PS4, they were giving you a massive bump in credit. So I found a couple cheap ones on Facebook Marketplace, and I shaved about $350 off my bundle just from these trade-ins.
That's
I think
that's great.
I think here in the US they did only PlayStation Direct because I guess they wanted to make sure that fans got one in their home, that 1-in-1 day one, instead of have to dealing with like, bots
Scalpers
popping
and
up
stuff,
by the
yeah,
bulk,
yeah.
But even with scalpers, why not at least give people the option to go in store? It was an amazing. It's weird to say that it was an amazing feeling to get a new like console related product by going to the store and just being like, "Hey, can I get that?" And I just picked it up because like the PS5s, we all have
we
to
haven't
order
been able to do that in
pandemic.
years, TC. So that is very satisfying. A lot of people in the chat are asking, Patient Fire, has anybody on the panel gotten a chance to play No Man's Sky in VR yet? Has anyone dabbled at all?
That'd probably be one
No,
of the
I
last
don't
things I
have it.
play, respectfully.
Wait, Persona, you're saying you're not feeling that?
No, I'm not saying I'm not feeling it. That's just not that high on my priority list when it comes to VR.
Okay.
I'm more so looking at like the newer experiences.
No, that's.
So you're not trying to be a nerd like everybody else. Man. We trying to fly and co-op in VR, man.
So when Persona sees me playing it, he's just gonna send me a message that says "nerd," and that's all he's gonna say to me. That's it.
Persona has the game too, man. So he out here fronting for everybody because you want to be cool for school.
Nah, what you mean? I got the game, but no, I'm just saying I'll play it at some point. But I'm trying to play GT Horizon.
Oh no, I feel
after they fall and whatnot. You feel me?
So what do you guys think? What would you say? A lot of people in the audience that are either on the fence about picking up PSVR2 or have one right now. And they're like, well, I'm playing the games that I currently have. Like some people have been playing No Man's Sky. What's the must-have game right now outside of Call of the Mountain? I mean, I know Call of the Mountain people are going to say, because that game was designed with that intent. What's the next best game? And by the way, no, you guys can have 5 different games you're going to say. Well, I'll just go right there. Go ahead and shout it out. TC, I'll go with you first. I'll go right up the line.
I've only played a few games right now, but for we're talking about right now, I haven't played it yet. But I feel like Resident Evil 8 Village might be the must get outside of Horizon for me personally, because I love horror, and Resident Evil 4 was so close to being one of my favorites on the Quest 2, and that was a Quest 2 game. And I'm about to play a PlayStation 5 version of Resident Evil. I think that's the must get for me.
Well, shout out to Social Destruct. He's agreeing with you, TC. He says, thanks for the super chat too, Social. He says the sense of immersion in RE Village on VR2 is worth the price of admission. Incredible experience. Incredible.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
That is going to be something, because I'm not going to lie to you guys. So you guys know, this is kind of sidestepping. We'll get right back to VR. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. Resident Evil 7 I played through 3 times. Loved it. Resident Evil 8, I kind of just ran through it. I beat the game. I ran through it. You can check my trophies. I really didn't hone in and dive into that world. This is different. I have a feeling I'm definitely going to be playing RE8 again. I have it. And when I do, I think this time I'm really going to spend a lot of time in the world. I mean, if you just do that naturally, you'll acquire more trophies. So I really think I'm just going to kind of get more into it. Persona, what's the must-have game today? And it's funny for me to ask you guys this. This isn't something you're probably you may not say the same game 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, but Persona, of what you're playing right now, if someone's in the audience and go, all right, I'm buying it right now, Persona, what do I buy? What game?
Hey, yo, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. Outside of Call to the Mountain, obviously you excluded that game.
I did, yeah.
Yo, GT7.
Yes. Wow.
Listen, man. Woo. Listen. This. I'm speechless, man. This shit has me speechless, Mooch. I played it, and it's because the way it starts off regular like GT.
Yeah.
Then you know how when it shows you your car kind of already driving or whatever, and it's in third person or whatever, then it switches to the VR view. Yo, when it hit the VR view, I was like, whoa, it blew my mind. GT7 is absolutely one, and then the other one, no cap, After the Fall, man.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Oh, that's a surprising one.
This game, me and Bari played it. This game is fun. It's high intense, high action, very mobile, very, very fun. Had a lot of fun playing that, and I think that's a game that a lot of people, especially if you're looking for something a little bit more fast paced and action heavy, After the Fall, I think is going to be a really good game as well. Last game, I'll shut up.
No, go, Persona.
You talking to? Goddamn
no, you're not.
No,
not on this show. Go ahead.
The last one is going to be Star Wars Edge of the Galaxy, I think it's called, Enhanced Edition. Yo, this game is incredible, man. Like, yo, once you get the blaster, because it starts off real slow, you got to do a couple of things to kind of set things up. But then once like the enemy breaks into your ship, and like you get your blaster and you start fighting like how Star Wars would be.
Yes.
Hey man, I'm swooping side to side. I'm holding the gun. Man, I'm like Rambo out there, man. I'm like, what y'all want, man? Let's go. Yo, listen, Star Wars and Edge of the Galaxy is incredible. Those are like the top three games outside of Cult of the Mountain that I absolutely think people should pick up and play.
Persona was like, Obi-Wan, I got this. Sit down.
Hey man, listen, look, I got this, man. I got the blaster. We on it.
Don't you worry about it. No, Persona, outstanding. Great recommendations. Jay Barry, I'll go to you next. Must play.
Yeah, man. I know. Like I said, like Persona said, I know you're trying to exclude Call of the Mountain, but I don't think it's fair.
It's not fair
excluding it because it's such a great experience, and I think like anybody that is going to be buying a VR2 headset, that is the go-to experience or game to play.
Jay, can allow me to interrupt you just for a second? And I apologize. The reason I kind of want to take back. I shouldn't have probably excluded it, and the reason I did that. And shame on me. Remember, guys, I always say this. You guys in the audience, I give you credit. I give everyone on the panel credit. We are the hardcore gamers, right? We always buy the newest tech. We always try the newest games. So the reason I excluded it, which was not fair, it really was not fair, is everyone that I know got the Call of the Mountain edition. So the reason I excluded it was just I know you have that game. I'm trying to reach the audience right now that bought the PSVR 2 without Call of the Mountain. But you're right, Jay. I shouldn't have excluded it because if they don't have it in their pack, that might be the go-to game, Jay. So I'll go ahead and say that. I'll retract that. Do you think that Call of the Mountain is your go-to game, and what would be your second?
I think that's the definitive game. But I named three outside of Call of the Mountain. Like Persona, I agree 100%. GT7 is a that game right there will change your perspective as far as how you look at racing games. If you're not like the racing enthusiasts that love these type of simulation games, I think VR would change that perspective a lot, because I'm one of those persons that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I fit that category, and playing this, viewing the cars that's in your face and sitting in those cars, like it feels like you're in those cars. I don't have a Bugatti, Mooch. I ain't rich. But
You're not Andrew Tate. You're not Andrew Tate.
I'm not Andrew Tate, but I definitely pulled up my Bugatti and I sat in that thing, and it was really nice. And speaking of all the features that's being used, like the haptics and the rumble and everything, you feel that all the way in that game. As cars wish you by, like you feel that in your headset. You get into a crash. I got into a crash on like purpose, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
How heavy is the boom from 0 to after the fall?
Oh, well, after the fall?
Like from 0 to like after the fall being one of the higher ones that gives you that boom.
Did you? Well, you get, it depends on like what type of crash you get into. Gran Turismo, you're going to feel that all the way. You know what I mean? Like how long you're scratching. Like say you're scratching on the wall, you're going to feel that all the way. When you get into like the dirt, rubble, and all that stuff, or the little little things that car go, you're going to feel that. Some of those things I might be subtle, but that car, that accident, I uploaded on Twitter. That crash that I did, I felt that all the way. I was immersed in that one for sure. Second game I'm going to list off. I definitely agree with TC, man. Resident Evil 8. I haven't played it yet, but everybody that I know have played it say, yeah, this is like one of those things that you have to play this in VR. And I like Resident Evil 8 a lot. I like Village a lot, so I want to see how it plays out in VR. And it wasn't too scary like 7. You know, I mean, I think I can get it unless
that's one of the downsides for me for Resident Evil 8 is that while I did enjoy it, for me the better game is RE7 for me personally.
Can you play 7 on your PSVR 2?
No, I wish. I wish there's
updated that yet.
Once they have an update, that's when I'm gonna play it in VR. I don't like the PSVR 1 version. I don't know how people played that. I know some people love it and they're saying it's amazing, but I'm waiting for a PSVR 2 update.
Okay,
personally.
Jay, was that your number 3? That was your number 2.
That was one. Number 3, last one. I gotta go with one of my favorite characters in VR, Quill. So that's gonna be Moss 1 and 2. if you guys are getting a PSVR2, definitely get the bundle for Moss 1 and 2. It's like one of those third-person God mode view, VR games, but it's super immersive. The story is very compelling. They did a great job telling the story, with Quill and her family and saving her uncle and things like that. And the gameplay is pretty good as well. Moss 2 takes it up a notch. So all the things that you love about Moss 1, or if you haven't played it yet, you're gonna love about Moss 1. You're gonna love it even more in Moss 2. But yeah, like Moss, like it surprised me because I'm like, I don't think this game is gonna use or take advantage of like the head haptics. But right in that opening scene, it definitely does. If that bird flies by you, you feel that all in your head. Like, you know what I mean?
Jay, can you play Moss 2 without playing Moss 1? The reason I asked that is it's a selfish Mooch question. I don't have one, but I bought 2. So can I play 2?
No. 2 is a direct sequel to 1.
So I gotta play 1.
It's a direct sequel. Yeah, I think you will love 1. I think it's just better for the overall story to play 1 than 2.
Yep.
Because it's a direct sequel, right from 1 you're getting into 2, and 1 ending, like the last scene in the game. Yes. I think it's some of the best stuff. So definitely play 1 as well.
I don't know if it's gaming noobs or whatever. He actually said, he goes, Mooch, while you're having this conversation, he goes, didn't you download Walking Dead Saints and Sinners? And I just checked on my PlayStation app. I do have Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I must have grabbed it on PS Plus. I had traded in my PSVR1 headset a while back, and I just didn't use that one. So I think it was roughly when the Quest came out, I started using that one more. Traded in while I can get some money for that, and I didn't even know. So I do have Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, the first one. So credit to TC there. It looks like I'll get that one upgraded free, but I'll still have to buy the second one naturally. So, Jay, those are great games as well, and I appreciate the thoroughness of talking about Moss. I've actually had people tell me in DMs that Moss 2 is going to be that's the actual game that really lets people that's going to make the PSVR 2 known. People said that's the real
Moss 2 definitely ups the gameplay for Moss, but like I say, if you just want the full story, play both of them because both of them are amazing. You know what I mean? The only thing, I haven't finished Moss 2 because it was VR1, and I was like, yo, I'm not finishing this. I'm waiting for VR2. But now it's here, VR2. I'm definitely going to finish 2 all the way with that.
So quick question for Jay Barry and Perso. I got to ask them because they have like 7 million trophies. Guys, real quick, does Call of the Mountain come with its own set of trophies, and can you platinum it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's worth knowing.
All the games come with trophies and platinums. All the games that's mentioned.
Yep, every single one.
That is.
And I think Ring too. You gonna get some quick platinums, man. And that first couple of hours,
getting the platinum, getting trophies with the VR on.
Yeah,
the
nice.
Sound and all that is nice, man. I like it.
That's what I'm talking about. I know it's that little stuff, man.
Yo,
that little stuff.
Call of the Mountain is its own story. Like you're in the Horizon world, but you're playing a different character. And spoilers, I know it's not spoilers because it was in the trailer. Aloy is in the game. Yes, you are the character that you play with. He is taller than Aloy, but Aloy looks amazing in VR. Yo.
Yes, she does.
Oh my god.
He said
she does.
He said, yes, she does. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yo, it's my man right there. Yo, shout out to DC Gaming. He says, shout out to one of the best Friday night podcasts. Hit the like button and hope everyone in the panel has a great weekend of gaming. Shout out to you, DC. Thank you so much. DC Mooch. With a gifted 1 Mooch membership. I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
This conversation is not helping my FOMO, man.
I was just going to say, BRAP, I'm expecting you to show a receipt of purchase by the end of the show.
I know. Just like hearing the haptics on the head. Like, I don't know if there's any other VR headsets, or maybe they are. I'm not aware of any that use haptic feedback in the head.
No.
There isn't one.
Yeah,
No.
that's just, that's really cool. And then hearing about Call of the Mountain and the kayaking game that Barry was talking about. I mean, like if you experience and then Star Wars, I think Persona was talking about Star Wars. Like I remember playing when I got the Quest 2, it was Darth Vader Immortal, and I just remember being like, oh my god, like I'm in a spaceship. This is crazy. And it was such a surreal. And then you meet Darth Vader. He just towers over you. So like VR is really an immersive experience. Like you just won't have that kind of experience anywhere else.
If you want to see something tower over you, play Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Also, shout out to Deborah Wilson, man. She's the villain one of the main villains in this Star Wars game. I'm like, damn, yo, she been working heavy.
Every game.
Yeah, man, she been in a lot of games lately. Man, so shout out to her. But
Now,
yeah, no,
are they
Star
lightsaber
Wars,
like lightsabers in the game?
I'm not.
Or is it just like blasters?
I don't know. I can't say with certainty if there is or isn't
Gotcha.
because I'm not far enough in the game to even confirm that. But at where I am, we're using blasters because you're not a Jedi. You're
okay, gotcha.
You're a cargo
a smuggler,
like a cargo, smuggler, cargo worker or whatever, and so you're not necessarily a Jedi.
Yo, shout out real quick. I'll do a shout out and introduction. Mr. Badbit has joined us. You guys know from the PlayStation Trophy Room. Badbit, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing this evening? And you're right on time for PSVR2 talk.
Oh, thank God. Listen, I'm so sorry. I'm so gosh darn late, but thank you guys for having me because I'm excited to talk about PlayStation VR2 with y'all. So
no, that's great. I was going to get to Peniac's going to do his top 3 games, and then Badbit and the great Jez 7780 just joined as well. If you guys don't mind, gather your thoughts on the top 3 games you guys are enjoying right now on VR2, as well as maybe some pros and cons to the hardware. And then we're going to jump after that. We're going to jump right into the state of play talk. But Peniac, what were your top games?
I'm just going to give one because I don't feel like I've given any other games enough of a go yet.
That's fair.
And it's GT7, man. It has to be. I'll tell you about GT7. I just got it on Christmas Day. Like, I got a gift card. It was on sale, so I was like, I'm gonna get this. And I've almost exclusively played that since Christmas.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be 100% honest. The VR2 was like, hey, this looks cool. It's nice, but it was not on my radar. And then Big Jim gets out there at CES and says, hey, guess what? GT7, full-blown VR2, the entire game. I was like, come on.
You're like,
so then, the wheels started
buddy.
churning, the wheels started rolling, the GameStop promo was there, Facebook Marketplace was nice, and here we are, and Persona, I think it was you said for Jay, the first time you do, it's outside your car, it's panning in flat mode, and then it goes in and it switches to VR, and you're like, holy.
Peniac, yeah. I gotta say, man, a lot of people aren't saying this enough. This panel is saying it enough. I've seen people say, Mooch, you got to stop with all this what game should I play nonsense. The game you need to play is GT7. Everyone says that. And when people say, there's a lot of reviewers out there and a lot of media outlets that are like, the one thing PlayStation VR doesn't have, meaning PSVR2, pardon me, they don't have a killer app. And somebody replied underneath it.
They don't have a new game that might be a killer app. But GT7 is that killer app. It's it, man. It is. Seeing is believing. You get in that car, you do your first race, and then it switches to VR mode, and your jaw will
you
drop,
guys know
you'll be smiling, and you will.
I'm not a car enthusiast, and that game in VR is just absolutely chef's kiss. I don't know how else to put it any better. The great Bad Bit is here. Bad, what can I get from you on some of your first day experiences here with the VR? And generally, we do a much grander showcase entrance for you, buddy. But I don't want to lose time here, and I want to get your take on it. What was maybe some of your positives on VR2? Your best game or two that you've played, and also maybe something that you would say is maybe a negative towards it. That maybe.
Yeah, no. So for me, guys, I'm coming in all good and beautiful, right? Good.
You sound great.
All right, awesome. So I got to give a good shout out to Demeo, which is probably the best VR game that I've played. We had a interview that's currently up on the Trophy Room show with the Demeo devs talking about the game, talking about the creation process. And the night before, we finally got, the game code, and we're going in and we're like, we're just going to play like a round or two, like 30 minutes, understand the game, get some questions in. And we spent almost a good 3 hours playing that game. And when you talk about it, even looking at it, you're like, how is this the best VR title? It's something you truly have to experience because it is a love letter to D&D. It is a love letter to all the card games like Magic and
Mr.
all
Babbitt,
that jazz. Yeah.
First of all, great to see you, sir. How do you see you?
Oh, BRAP, you're here. What up, man? man? What's going on,
Yeah,
bud?
I'm here. I'm tinfoil wrapped today.
Nice.
No, but to your point, it is a love letter to DD to the point where you're in a basement.
Yeah, you're
I mean,
literally in a
great.
basement. You're surrounded by Ataris. You're surrounded by like old like 80s rock posters. Like
Oh, it's
you
great.
are. Everything is centered around the table. And the devs really don't want, as much as the room's like neat and cool, they're like, it's just set dressing to what is right in front of you. This table where it is pure strategy. It's
like
board
game one, right?
The board game run. Yeah, like
Okay,
you have this table, this board, and this dungeon that's kind of floating just on the board itself. And you're just going through these dungeons that are constantly randomly generated, so you're never playing the same level twice. And each room has just a bunch of enemies that, you know, again, it's kind of like chess meets magic, meets D&D, where you have these spells, but they're finite. You can only use one or two of them, and then it's just gone until you do enough damage to get another ability off the fly, or you pick one up from a random enemy. And it makes things so strategic. You have to really plan out things with your friends. You can literally pick up enemy mobs, the other figures that are on the table, and you can actually see like their weaknesses, their stats, and all that. Demeo just is a great time, and it is the game to play if you have a buddy or two with you. And the great thing about it is it's cross-play on literally everything. Any VR, any PC, any platform.
I like that.
You could play that with folks. Their whole mission is to get as many people into this game as possible, and I can't stress how great that game is. And I feel like it's VR at its best because it's a simple concept, just nailed 100% right. The other one I have to obviously give huge credit to is Horizon Call of the Mountain. I think this game is goddamn stellar. This is, I think, to me, the killer app here. For all the reviewers that gave it a 6, I don't care much about review scores, but I just want to talk to y'all because I want to know the game y'all played. Looking at this game firsthand, I had my doubts, I had my questions about it, but this is, I think, PlayStation's Half-Life Alyx. The way you're traversing through this world, it's not like a Nathan Drake, Uncharted. Things are painted in white for you to climb, but the climbing is so intricate. There does seem like this level of effort and thinking and thought that goes into how you're platforming rather than just getting from point A to point B. It gives you choice along the way.
Told you.
It's like a puzzle.
It is. It really is.
And you really feel
you
like
really got a grip.
You got to be methodical in what where you're putting your hand. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and
literally
the
pull
aiming
in
too.
the
The aiming
proper
with
direction,
the bow and arrow. That eye tracking.
That's satisfying.
Oh my god, that's a game changer.
Dude, that bow and arrow is so damn. Like, I saw some people go, "Oh, it sucks." I'm like, what? Guys, use the controller. Like you're using it like you would a bow and arrow. And my co-host Kyle's just like, dude, it was so cool. Like I felt like I was Hawkeye, just like trying to machine gun arrows into the bow. Like the action is good for VR. When seeing the first fight with like the Strider or whatever it's called, I was like, okay, I don't know about this combat, but once I got introduced to like Sunbeaks and Scavengers, I was just like, oh wow, no, this is them. Yeah, like this is opening up. It's actually challenging. I'm actually diving, dipping, dodging. Like it's like I'm playing dodgeball the movie. It's awesome. It really is. And just the level of detail, we had Steve Vivargi on to talk about VR or PSVR2, where he felt like it was an extension of PS5, where PSVR 1 felt like, oh yeah, this is like PS3 or PS2, like, graphical fidelity, where it kind of felt out of place with the PS4. It just feels like PSVR with this game in particular feels like it's working in tandem with the PS5 when it comes to visual fidelity. It's really, really top notch.
What you don't realize, Bad Bit, is you just cost BRAP $600 in that one sentence or two. BRAP is literally just.
I gotta be honest. Like I'm literally looking at the.
I think he bought it right.
There it is. Hit the buy right now.
Oh, hit it. It's.
Yeah, I mean, this is insane. Like, yeah,
dude, it's so. I love VR.
I tell you about the drum game.
The one thing that the Demeo devs told us in our
Olive Garden
interview,
VR game.
where you hear your family in VR. The one thing that the Demeo devs told us that was really awesome is just like, yeah, no, most AAA people have left it, VR. And it's awesome to see the final one here is the one that's holding the platform together, which is PlayStation, that they're really believing in this product. And it's not just, hey, here's a little gimmick game. Like they're saying, no, this is something that's going to be big one day. We're believing in this platform with you indies as well. And you're not seeing that from anyone else. It's PlayStation's that's taking this risk with them. And that's what I feel like a lot of developers are appreciating, especially in the VR field. Now, the only thing that I'm not a fan of is that cable. I'm only kidding.
The Chains of Olympus cable. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
That's what the reviewers were saying. Oh,
dude, let me tell you something. I'm a pretty big VR guy. I love the products. I've worn most of them except for the Index. This one is, I've always been a fan of how the crown method that PlayStation patented. I think this is the most comfortable headset I've worn. Tethered or not. Like I saw some reviews try to compare this with the Oculus Quest, and it's like, no, you can't. Those are two different products. And we even had the Moss devs talk about how difficult it is to code for the Oculus, because that processor is just so damn small.
And when we're talking about comfort, PSVR2 trumps Quest easy.
Oh, easy. The controller alone. I'm holding the Quest right now in my hand. It's like it's made for a toddler. The PlayStation VR controller is by far the most comfortable VR controller I've held.
Nice.
But the only thing that I could say, and it's just a nitpick that I don't like from the hardware thus far, and it's only been like 2 or 3 days, right? Is definitely the pass-through cameras. Not to even say that they're awful or they're bad or anything. I do notice that the Quest does have better visibility than the PSVR2, but that's not saying anything truly against it, because it's passable, it works, it's just not as clear, it's a little bit fuzzier. But
is it fuzzy, or is it now, Babbitt? Let's one of the things that plays a pivotal role is light, right? Light immersion.
Yeah.
So is your room extremely dark? Do you have windows? What is maybe offsetting? And my question actually, and Jess, I'm going to go to you next. But what do you really think? Is it possibly just your room, or you think it really is everyone experiencing what Babbitt's experiencing?
Yeah,
no, for me, the PSVR2 is clearer than the Quest 2. I've used the Quest 2 for me personally. That's why I was surprised by your answer. No, it's not.
I noticed that it does get fuzzy if it's darker room. Like if you put the light on, it gets clear. Like if you have a darker room, it does get fuzzy.
Are you guys playing with dark rooms?
It's very clear for me.
No,
you just can't like view like a text message or something. You know what I mean? Like I can't see like a text message, but
so you know what? I'll give it another look, because I didn't think about it too much. Like it's funny because like Kyle, he's in my co-host, he's in a darker area.
Yeah.
And we're talking about tracking with the camera or with the controllers. He's like, it's only messed up like maybe once or twice. Like even when it's dimly lit, the controllers are tracking fairly well. For me, I'm pretty sure I'm just doing natural light. I got two windows here in front of me, but honestly, and even when I say like the pass-through cameras, which don't take 30 minutes to get working. It's a button, guys. You can just press it. It's instant.
I understood that reference.
I'm reaching. Yeah, I'm reaching because I can't really find much that I don't like about this headset thus far. Because the tech's just there. I really love this headset, and I'm hoping for the best for it.
I'm really that is probably it's outstandingly encouraging to anybody that's listening to the show right now. Jez, I'm going to go to you real quick here.
Yep.
Jez, I know that you've streamed a game, you've recommended some games. First of all, real quick, I'll ask you, what's your top game or two, and then how's also the hardware treating you? And then we did spend an hour and a half on VR. I don't want you to think I'm cutting VR short, but I do want to talk about the state of play as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So first I just want to say the most incredible thing I have to say is this thing. Sony really knocked it out of the park with the setup and the slickness of it when it faded from your room, like when it's setting you up and it calibrates your room. And then when you hit like go, it fades everything out to black, and then it just goes to stars, and then it just says PlayStation VR. Like that was some slick stuff, man. I was like,
nice,
whoa, like that. The setup was incredible. I think they do a really good job with the how to set up in the different like your area, like standing room or sitting, and you can easily switch, like set up a temporary play space and stuff like that, so you don't have to like reconfigure everything. I think the interface has been really well integrated with the PlayStation. But actually for the games, I say my top game, I agree, Horizon, absolutely incredible. The thing is the details you see as you're climbing, and then you look down and you see how clear everything is. I think that's the biggest thing from here is how clear that screen is, how bright it is, and also how dark it can go, because it's the OLED. But it also has that HDR. Like it even looks better than sometimes the TV. Like you take it off and you like look at the TV. It's like, man, it looks so much better on the screen, on my face, you know. And just seeing the detail when you could get that close to objects. Now I don't know if it's all the foveated rendering and all that other stuff, but you feel when you pick up something, when you're looking inside the pottery and stuff like that, like the texture and stuff looks crazy. Even when you're climbing, you see the moss and you see the edges of the rocks and stuff like that, and you're just like grabbing. And one of the things that I'm finding much different with this experience as opposed to the PlayStation VR 1, which I had, and I also have the Vive. Talk about wires coming out of your head. The Vive, you felt like you were plugged into the Matrix, the original Vive.
You're like Cerebro or something.
Dude, you had like three cables coming out the back of your head. Like I remember people hanging it on the ceilings, like as a way to kind of alleviate the wire to make it feel like it's they have a hook on the ceiling, and you hook yourself up top, and basically it takes the wire off your shoulder. But anyway, I think that the hardware is absolutely incredible. It actually, one of the things that surprised me too is that it sits really high on your head. Like, you know, basically the back of it goes lower, and then it sits very high on the top of your forehead, not on your forehead. And that is the most comfortable headset, because that thing is not putting any pressure on your face or your sinuses, where that's where the headaches and stuff will happen if you feel pressure on your face. So it takes all the pressure off your face, and it puts it on the top of your head and the back of your head. Works well with headphones. I tried big headphones, and I tried the plugs. But back to the game, I'd say the other game, Horizon, was incredible. GT7, dude, absolutely amazing. That thing gave me like the stomachs. Like I was like, when I was going down like a hill, I was like, whoa, like I should feel something. Like you have those bodily feelings because it's so real. It feels like you're driving a car. And now I have a play seat with a wheel. Like I got the cockpit stuff set up.
Yeah.
So I did this with the VR headset. It was incredible. And then even what's crazy is that when you go into the VR like showcase mode, I'm sitting in the car, like sitting there, and I'm just waiting to see my wife in the seat next to me, and I'm like, oh, nobody's there. But like it's so real, like you're just chilling in the car in front of the cafe, and the sunset's there, and I'm like, nobody's on the side. It's empty. But anyway, it looks so very real, like with the dashboard and playing with all the lights and all that stuff.
So I don't, you know, Jez, I don't, and a lot of people have been mentioning this on the panel. I did, shout out to the great J-Dub. You guys know J-Dub City very well. He talked me into grabbing a steering wheel. So I grabbed the steering wheel. I tweeted it out. You guys saw the picture.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I have not hooked it up yet, but I don't have the chair set up. I'm actually just going to mount it to the desk and have the pedals under. Will that work? Will that work, or is that not going to give you the same experience?
No, it works.
Now I do, Persona. I do now.
I hear you.
Were you saying something before, Persona?
No, it says I'm in the AFK room. That's why I'm like, it looks really
Oh, damn. They put you in the room.
No, you're in our room, buddy.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, never mind.
You're here. I don't know. I didn't see anybody move or
No, the wheel
up.
is good, dude. Like I say, the wheel definitely immerses you, makes you feel better. But again, you don't have to. The seat really is just like, they do have like ones that like, well, you could plug your wheel on with the pedals, and you could like sit in a chair and play.
Yeah.
Or put it to the desk. Like I think just having the wheel and doing that is there. But the seat I have is just so I had a setup that I could just wheel out. Like it is big.
Is,
like,
you know, you start running out of stuff, and that's what I'm kind of doing right now. I'm trying to make this. I said this a couple weeks on the show, and I know Persona heard me say this as well last week. I've been setting up in the basement this area to have like room to play, but that's even taking this a step further to have that. I'm going to call it an apparatus. I don't mean that in a bad way.
It's like a play.
Yeah, you've got
I got it on Amazon. I think it was like $300, $250. Like it wasn't like $700-$800. Like it was like $300. Not too expensive.
No, and shout out to a couple of people in the chat have been mentioning that Creed is coming out. I know there's a lot of boxing fans.
That's coming out too. There's a lot of games.
Persona, you were vocal, I think, on Twitter. If I believe it was you. Didn't you say that there was another boxing game that you were looking for? Wasn't it? It wasn't Creed though.
Nah, I wasn't looking forward to no boxing.
I thought you were looking next to looking for a boxing game. I couldn't remember if it was you, but I thought it was you who mentioned it. I myself, boxing's not really my bag, but nonetheless.
Yeah, and then the other game I just want to say is that Drums Rock that I streamed earlier today, dude. That game is $20. It has like a few licensed songs in it, and it is an awesome VR experience. Like I love those rhythm games in there. I also got the guitar one. I didn't try that one out, but the Rock, man, with the drums. You're sitting there, and it's very arcadey. I mean, it's just like Rock Band, or it's not super sim. Like it's not like you have serious notes and stuff. The notes are actually demons coming at you, and you basically have to hit them based on the color of the demon and stuff like that, instead of like just bars coming at you. There's even boss fights. I fought the devil with like you have to do a drum roll like to get him away. But you feel the music, and it is really a chill, fun experience that you get into it.
You said you fought the devil?
I fought the devil. Yeah, there's the devil comes out, dude.
Oh, Phil Spencer. Wow.
Yeah, he was trying to give me some Game Pass, and I said, take that shit back. And I'm like, I was drumming that bowl.
And he just drummed away.
He's trying to offer me some of that trash. I was like, no, take that back.
Like,
I started drum rolling.
I don't want
that game is awesome for that. And for cons, otherwise, like I would say, I think the controller battery on my thing, like they kind of die pretty quickly on there, like I think it's like 3 or 4 hours, which a session is about an hour or so, I would say. So I think, charging the controls, but again, I'm waiting for my dock to come in. So I've been dealing, I'm going to tell you, everybody go get a dock or some sort of charging thing for both of them, because just trying to plug these things in with USBs,
Jay Barry
that's annoying as hell.
Yeah. Shout out to the great Jay Barry. Jay Barry did have a hard stop at 8:30. He's doing another podcast. So shout out to Jay Barry. But that was the same thing Jay said. Jay said the one thing that he really didn't like is if you don't have the charging station, which I got the charging station, but you know what's funny? There's other third-party charging stations that look really, really good. If it's good, Jez, you should post it and let people know.
Yeah, the only problem with the ones that I see, the third-party ones, is that they use that USB-C dongle piece. So it's not like one of those ones where it just uses the touch sensors at the bottom of the control. So you do have to like kind of sit them in.
The PSVR2 one uses the official one has a dongle too.
Oh, it does. It doesn't use the touch. It doesn't use the.
It's like a dongle that you put on the bottom of the controllers, and then that is what touches the charging bay.
Yes. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, then that's what these other ones do. But the reason why I went with one of the third-party ones is because it actually has a dock for the headset. So it's a headset dock with the headphone dock, and it also has the charging for the controllers all in one piece.
That would be
I think it was like $30 on Amazon.
That would be my gripe. I was kind of hoping that we would have had the controllers and then a place to put the headset.
The headset, I know, that thing, I'm not sitting down on my couch or something like that. Somebody sits on it.
You don't want anything like that. So you want to actually, when you're done using it, put it away. Yeah, absolutely. Because as much as you guys are saying it's light and it's easy to use and it feels good, it's also, you guys tell me, wouldn't you say it's still a delicate item?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And those cameras break on the front, you're done. Like that camera cracks or that lens falls on its face.
I would have liked to have a place to put that, even if, like I said, if that's what came with the extra, because you paid the extra $50 or what it was for the controllers.
Yeah, that's why I bought the one with the mount.
Yeah, and I said, I had a really kind of a finicky way of getting those. Did you guys have a finicky way of getting those things adjusted the first time you docked them or no?
Yeah. No,
Yeah. The charging base is kind of I wish Sony put a bit more work on it, just because it's like when you slide them in there, you're not sure right away if they're charging, and it's like you have to get them in the right position.
Yeah. It feels like prom night. So that's what I'll say about the one thing that I don't like about the headset is the accessory. I don't like that charging station. There's a third-party one that my buddy Kev is reviewing on his channel, PlayStation Source, that is like a charging dock, and it's also like a stand for your headset.
Yeah, that's what I would.
I saw that.
Yeah, because
it comes tomorrow.
It doesn't feel kinetic. It doesn't feel like it just snaps in place.
That's so weird. So it's not like the DualSense official one where you just drop it into.
You drop it, it clicks in place.
Clicks in, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's no sensation that feels like, oh yeah, here it is. I locked it completely. The right controller that I thought was charging when I was out, it wasn't. And I was like,
it won't let you play. It won't let you play.
Yeah, my family thought I was crazy. They're like, Dad, why are you watching that? I'm like, I'm waiting for the white light to pulse.
I know. And that's the other thing. It's very subtle too. Like it's not like a bright light to let you know it's charging. It's a very subtle pulsing light.
So I'm just sitting there watching this thing, waiting for it to pulse. Shout out to G in the chat. He says, I fell in love with GT7. It was my first Gran Turismo, mine
dude,
as well. G, I agree. The great Sir X-Man, he says, been playing VR racing games for a while on PC. I'm happy that PlayStation players get to enjoy the experience that I have, but I know he has a great racing setup. Shout out to Sir X-Man. And Stoney, he says, y'all see that Jesus VR game coming out? I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it. I did not see that.
I did not see that.
I must have been
and the other two, I was
under a rock.
The other two honorable mentions I want to throw out there is the NFL Pro game. Like I've been playing that demo, like just with different teams and stuff, and it is pretty fun. The NFL Pro demo, that game, and then the other one is Resident Evil 8. I went through the tutorial, the detail of that game, and the way you open up your jacket and you pull out the accessories and stuff like that, and how you load the guns. And dude, that is,
it's funny.
That is incredible for free.
I hope people that are listening in the chat are hearing these panel members' experiences, because we had this conversation last week, and I can't remember who posed the question to me. It was somebody that I don't think was interested in PSVR or any VR, and they're like, Mooch, why all of a sudden? It's just we all game like you get 100 hours into Hogwarts, right? Or you get 50, 60 hours into whatever it is, Forspoken. I'm just naming some newer games that are out right now. Then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've been sitting on the couch just doing this for a while. Listening to each panel member right now go through their favorite top 3 games so far, and the system came out, this peripheral came out Wednesday. It gets you off the couch, it gets you moving. There's different types of worlds to live in, breathe in, feel like you're a part of. It's a different experience. I would never tell you need to go spend the $600 tonight. That's insane. I would never recommend that at all. But if you are loving gaming, and every once in a while where you go, I'm kind of in a little bit of a gaming rut, when you do put on this headset, it does take you to another place, and you still get to enjoy your favorite pastime in a way that you've never experienced. And I think the reason I say it that way, a lot of people on the panel might go, Mooch, why are you saying this like VR came out yesterday? For a lot of people, it did come out Wednesday. A lot of people really didn't get the Vive. They didn't get the Quest. They didn't get the PSVR 1. There's a lot of new people. Earl Clark goes, geez, under a rock, Mooch, I see. Yeah, I honestly I have not heard of the Jesus game. I apologize. I'll look it up. He says, go touch VR grass. I will. I certainly will. I only have Persona for a bit longer. So Persona, I'm going to switch subjects real quick here and go to the PlayStation State of Play. I have my opinion on it, but I'm going to hold mine to last. Persona, what was your overall take of the show? And the reason I say my part 2 question is, do you think because we haven't had our showcase yet, that everybody was building up this State of Play to be something that it may not have? What was your take going into it, and then after you watched the games that were presented?
So yeah, no, I think, when it comes to the State of Play, I mean, obviously PlayStation does a good job of being very upfront about what you can expect from State of Play. So, I wasn't going into this thinking we were going to be getting, big showcase surprises and things like that. I understood that this was going to be a third-party showcase, and then they were going to show Suicide Squad, which I'm very excited for. But one of the things that I was actually hoping for was that PlayStation would kind of start the year off with a bang. And I said this yesterday. I said this yesterday with my when me and Barry were doing our live reactions. PlayStation has a lot of momentum going into 2023, right? We're looking at the success of God of War Ragnarok, which is selling tremendously well. We're looking at supply issues for PlayStation 5 being all but is pretty much non-existent at this point. The big lie for PlayStation push, the success, PSVR releasing. There's a lot of great momentum behind PlayStation right now. And, looking at the very first show that they do of the year, let alone not getting a showcase last year, and the rumor swirling, part of that has to do with the fact that, this whole Activision Blizzard deal back and forth that's going on, which, that can be true or false. I'm leaning more along the lines of it's true, because we didn't get a showcase, but we, and so I just feel that them starting the year off with this type of State of Play, very weak. And I gave the show a 4.5 out of 10. Now, there were some things there that I definitely was looking at and was loving, Street Fighter 6, Suicide Squad, 1 or 2 of the VR games, RE7, there were some things there that I was interested in. But looking at this from the perspective of, you're starting off 2023 very kind of lackluster when it comes to the showings, especially knowing that a lot of the community and a lot of people are chomping at the bit to know PlayStation.
Yep.
What are you doing? PlayStation, what is going on? PlayStation, knock our socks off,
Yes. Yep.
I didn't get that. And obviously, there's going to be a showcase, I'm sure, and all that stuff. But I feel like leaving out of this state of play, I left out wanting more and feeling disappointed.
No, that's fair. I really do. I thought that, and it's funny because I want to get the rest of the panel's thought here. I thought that what they showed, here's my thing. I didn't watch it live. I ended up watching it about 2 hours after it was live. I got home a little late last night, and I saw everything on Twitter. And I saw everybody basically kind of giving it the same thing. Persona, I saw anywhere from 4.5. I saw 4. I saw 6s. I saw 7s out of 10s. I didn't see anything really great. So I kind of came into this thing and I was like, oh my God, this is really, really bad. I thought overall, I mean, I didn't give it a grade like you did. I would really just say I thought it was what I thought it was going to be. I don't ever think of State of Plays as this big bang. And I know that we're close to a showcase. They're not going to go 2.5 years without a showcase. They're going to do a showcase, and I would say, let's just say around E3 time. Shout out to Jeff Grubb, who actually said that he's hearing that it would be just before, around the E3 time. Could be May, could be June. So if that's the case, March is next week. So I knew we would get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think the letdown, when it comes down to it, and I'll go, whoever wants to actually take the mic next, go ahead.
Go for it.
So I just wanted to get in my thoughts, and then
go ahead.
Then I'm gonna head off.
Was it Suicide Squad that actually let you down? That's my question to you, TC. And then go ahead and maybe give me a couple of minutes of your thoughts.
The show was okay. The PSVR stuff is the stuff that kind of interested me. Foglands, Synapse. A lot of people don't know about Fract, which is one of my personal favorite games from PSVR. Studio, the same team. I think the same team. It's the same publisher that made Fract is making Synapse. And there was another game, A Journey to Foundation, which is based on the book too. That one looks interesting as well. Outside of that, it was kind of downhill for me until RE4. Suicide Squad. I got apparently when I tweeted out Suicide Squad looks like another Gotham Knights. I got harassed for some reason. A lot of people came at me, but there was a lot of people who agreed as well. It was a weird conversation with Suicide. I wasn't trying to say so Gotham Knights wasn't really a game that I got into. I wanted to, but then I heard it went from 4-player to 2-player, and then I heard performance issues. Then it became a backlog thing. Maybe I'll get later on, and then I kind of just waved off. Suicide Squad looks similar to that, but there are people who like Suicide Squad. And in terms of Sony starting the year off with a bang, Sony has State of Plays early in the year before showcases every year. I think this is a part of their normal process, but the fact that apparently the reasoning for why they didn't have a showcase last year is because the developers weren't ready. I'm assuming maybe Spider-Man 2 had a role in that because Sony knows Spider-Man 2 is like their next showcase is God of War. They want to have that there, showing that off. So I'm wondering if that's a part of it. And considering that Jeff Grubb says this before E3 time, and he got the State of Play correct. E3 is usually around June, early June. And I don't know what you call E3 anymore since nobody's coming to E3. Nobody's going to E3. So I don't know what E3 time is anymore because it's become Summer Games Fest, Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, which is it doesn't have the same magic as E3 once did, but I appreciate Jeff Keighley putting out something like that. So I'm looking forward to the showcase. State of Play is okay. It had some good VR stuff. RE4 looked good, and that's really it. So I'm gonna head off.
No, TC, thanks for being here, buddy. I know that you also had to head out a bit early. I appreciate you guys coming on the show. TC, let everyone know where they can find you.
TCMF Games on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I had a TikTok account. I don't check that out. I deleted that app a long time ago. I think I named Instagram TCMF Games as well. And that's everything. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks, buddy. Mr. Badbit, I'll go to you. You know, the one thing I will just to piggyback what TC was saying though, real quick. Go for it. Badbit, it's just I really think that when it comes down to it, I didn't think Suicide Squad was that bad. I think everybody wanted Suicide Squad to be that next Arkham game. They're stepping away from that. I listen, I'm not telling you it's my top 10. I'm not even sure I'm going to pick it up. I didn't hate it as much as everybody else, but I think that's why maybe everyone thought that the show ended on a sour note. What was your take, Babbitt?
Yeah, man, I like the show. It's funny because on our show we coined the bit of like if it's a relatively universally liked state of play, we probably won't like it. If it's a universally hated state of play, we're probably the ones that love it. I really liked the state of play. I thought it was good. It's not the best ever. It wasn't God's gift, but our rule is if there's 3 games that sold you that you're gonna buy day one, then it was a good showcase. So
I like
for
that
us,
rule actually. That's interesting. I like that rule.
Yeah, I think Adam Boyes coined it, right? So he's just like, it's so hard to make one of these shows. It's not going to captivate you for the 40 minutes to an hour, but if you got 3 shows, that was a successful showcase. So to me, I'm like, I'm picking up Foglands.
Okay.
I'm picking up Synapse day one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Tachia, that's a given because it's on premium. But even then, like Baldur's Gate 3, I've been hyped for. I've been waiting for that to come to consoles. And so I'm picking that up. And yeah, like Resident Evil 4, I'm duh.
Well, yeah, right.
But, so like 5 games right there I'm picking up day one. That's a good showcase, right?
Yeah.
Dare I say great.
I actually liked Humanity, and you know why? Listen,
no!
You know why?
You like that?
Jez, I'm older than you. I liked Lemmings. Okay, I thought that was a good game. It's basically isn't it like Lemmings?
No.
It's not.
I've heard it's like it. No. Okay.
I know Lemmings, but I don't like Lemmings.
I thought it was a fun VR looking game. I wouldn't play it.
It's not VR though.
I thought it was.
I think there's the buildings in VR. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, something's in VR.
You need to put in the blocks in midair.
Yeah. But honestly, I liked Suicide Squad a lot. It's I get where people's coming from because it's not Arkham, and that's not what I wanted from them, and that's not the game that they were set out to make. Right.
Okay.
So for me, I posted this on Twitter and I remain true to it. Rocksteady's never put out a bad game. All their games have been great. They've been stellar. They are the thing that you put other superhero games up to, right? That's the thing that we modeled Spider-Man to. It's like, okay, can Spider-Man live up to Arkham?
This is not a superhero game.
Well, to me, I mean, you
got everybody running around with Borderlands guns, dude. Like that is not honoring what the superheroes running around with guns and sniper rifles and flying all over the air. Like I just don't know.
Daredevil's a blind dude with a cane and he's whipping it around.
Imagine they gave him an friggin' SMG and running around because that's what they did to these guys.
No, and I definitely
flying around is absolutely. It looks like Crackdown 4. This is what Crackdown 4 should be.
All right. Now, this is where I'm going to totally get shit on. So for me, like, I understand that argument. And I think that is fair to a large extent, right? Where it's like, yeah, Captain Boomerang doesn't run around with an SMG.
The shark was flying.
The shark, well, he was doing like awesome ground pounds. Like that's how he's traversing.
He's swimming in the air.
Well, yeah, like he jumps up and then he's like, I'm gonna like pseudo slam someone to the ground.
He swam from one building to another. He was swimming.
Yeah, let's do it. Like for me, I look at that and I'm like, it reminds me of Brute Force from back in the day. And yeah, it reminds me of when.
Oh man, you didn't reference Brute Force.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good one to reference. Dude.
Don't worry, I'm gonna reference other bad games that I really like.
Good one.
I'm gonna reference more bad games that I like.
I said Lemmings and I got crap for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it does remind me of Crackdown when it was good, and it reminds me of Sunset Overdrive a whole lot, where they talk about traversal.
Yes,
traversal meets combat. Right. And so to me, I'm looking at all these people jumping around and I'm like, if this is the closest thing to Sunset Overdrive 2 that I'm going to get, that's what I want. And so when they really sold me with the idea of we want to blend traversal with combat, because to me, when combat is fluid, when combat is fast and I'm moving all over the place and I'm succeeding doing that, that's where gameplay is fun. Like Crackdown 1, I loved Crackdown 1 when I get all the abilities and I'm jumping insanely dumb heights to just like body slam a foe. I love that as much as I'm grinding on a rail while shooting these green dudes with an SMG in Sunset Overdrive. So like for me, that's what this game reminded me of. And I want more games like that. So yeah, it's not like I'm Superman in Metropolis. It's not like I'm, Wonder Woman in Metropolis. I get it. I got a gun and I'm shooting folks in the face. But it reminded me of those games that I have immense fond memories of. Yeah. And listen, this game ain't gonna win Game of the Year. No. Looking at it,
Probably not.
It's not gonna be a contender. But I'm not here to count out Rocksteady that has this pedigree of,
Let's ask CD Projekt Red. Let's ask CD Projekt Red, like get the pedigree. I don't base anything on the pedigrees. I base on what I see, dude, and that's
that's
like
fair.
What they're doing, dude.
That's fair. I mean, it's
can't give them.
Well, here's the thing, though. You know what, though?
I think that's also a fair assessment. You could go off both, and because like if you're seeing it and you're like, I don't jive with it. I'm not here to convince you that.
No. I think when it comes down to it, the only thing is, and Jez, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring it up if you didn't. I saw a couple people saying when people said Rocksteady has the pedigree, and they go, well, "What about CD Projekt Red?" We all have short-term memory in the gaming world, right? We all say this. I say this every week. I recently have been playing Witcher 3, okay? The whatever edition they just put out there, the collector's edition, et cetera, et cetera. My point being is that The Witcher 3 was not mechanically sound ever. It didn't play great ever. Like, it always was kind of glitchy and always kind of pop in and this and that. Now, they've made iterations. It's gotten better over the years. But CD Projekt Red then having the issue that they had with Cyberpunk 77, and Cyberpunk it rebounded. It sold great after the fact. I know it was cheaper, etc. But my point being is Rocksteady, they didn't even have the uh-ohs and oopses that CD Projekt Red had at early days of Witcher. So I think when it comes down to it, they have to, I'm still going to go ahead and say that they would have to prove me wrong, and they'd have to put out a really, really piss poor game, pardon my French. I think that's what I'm trying to say real quick is I think that they have a little bit more credibility in this world. They have been working on it for 6-8 years now.
Mooch,
whether
the
it's
tank
good,
and the helicopters has purple balls on them as weak spots to shoot.
I did not like the purple balls. I'm not gonna lie.
You shoot a purple ball.
Pause.
The tank and the helicopter had purple balls. Shoot the weak spot. Even the huge anti-air gun had a big purple spot, the ball that you had to shoot.
No, don't get me wrong.
Very shallow and very just like, and all four characters seem to look like they play the same.
It did look shallow. It looked a little shallow.
It looked, and even you're fighting robots, and we already went through this with the Avengers. And the other thing, it was just like you're just fighting. Oh, here's the blue robot, here's the red robot, here's the purple robot, and it looks like you're fighting robots. Like I think the story looks really cool. The cutscenes and what they're gonna do. I'm interested in watching the movie of this. Like the
cutscenes are gonna be great. I bet. Yes,
like going after Flash, and the fact that you got to kill us, and what the Wonder Woman like doing that, dude. I think that. I'm ready for that part.
Yes.
But the gameplay part of it, I'm just like, whoa.
Well, I'll
this
tell
looks
you.
like,
Jess,
and I would say
agree,
I love like Crackdown 1 and Sunset were great because they maximized traversal, but it was like skills for kills. It was combos and stuff. And I just didn't see, this seemed very chaotic and sort of like just people
but don't you feel that way? Don't you feel that way?
I'm going to say this and then
go ahead, Persona.
Mooch, I got to go.
That's right. You got a 9 o'clock. Go ahead, Persona.
So I think with Suicide Squad, I love those type of games. Like I'm a big Destiny guy. I love the Avengers, Babylon's Fall, stuff like that. So I think a game like Suicide Squad is definitely up my alley, especially with the gameplay loop and the stuff that I was seeing. But I think it's one of the biggest issues that I've seen with a lot of these games that developers that attempt to do these live service games as service games, and it's the thing that I say all the time. It's the consistency, the day one content, the gameplay loop and things like that. As much as developers want to attempt these types of games, which more power to you, I'm all for it. You still need to be able to sustain what a live service games as a service game entails. And oftentimes we see developers stumble out the gate or fail outright when it comes to this because the mindset might be there, but the manpower isn't. Or the manpower is there, but the consistency isn't. Or, there's always something missing when it comes to attempting these types of things. So my only hope is, Rocksteady's been working on this for 8 years. My only hope is that they have witnessed how other live service games have kind of crashed and burned and looked at the mistakes that other games have made, and they've tried to probably navigate those waters to make sure that their game doesn't do that. Now, that's obviously a wait and see approach. We have to wait and see what's going to be, how much content is there on day one, what's the roadmap look like, and things like that. But because it's Rocksteady, I have faith because of the Arkham series and how much that series is very dear to me. I've got a lot of faith in Rocksteady, and maybe some of that might be misplaced, but only time will tell.
But yeah,
listen, man, great podcast, Mooch. Always appreciate you, bro.
Yes, Persona.
And, thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate you being here, Persona. Thank you, and I will be plugging What's Up PlayStation for you and Jay Bari at the end of the show as well, buddy. Thank you, Persona, so much for that. Appreciate being here.
It, man. All right, man. Good panel, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace.
Thank you, Persona. Yeah, no, Persona makes a good point, and Bambit, go ahead.
Oh no, I was waving off Persona. I hope you guys.
My apologies. No, I really think that, and it's funny because Bambit, I'm kind of there with you. Jess, don't get me wrong, your criticisms are all valid. They're all valid.
I don't get. One thing is that
you didn't like what you saw.
One of the things is, I'm just saying, one of the things that I don't like when they do these battle pass things is that, they say it's cosmetics, it's not going to affect the game, but there's going to be an inherent grind because you got to level up something in order to get the cosmetic stuff in the battle pass. And that's what, like Persona was saying, what is that gameplay loop? And if that was the gameplay loop that they were showing there, I think we're going to fall a little bit into the whole Avengers game where I thought the Avengers campaign was pretty good. Like, I liked the story. That's why I beat, but it was the end game where I had no interest of taking my character, my hero, and going to fight a bunch of robots to level them up for the post-game stuff. And I'm hoping that this story is in the Suicide Squad is as good as it like it's lengthy and stuff. And it's not just a way to kind of pre-build your characters like Avengers did, kind of get them up to all level 50 or something like that. And then now the real game begins with the grind and stuff like that after the story. And that's where, I proceed with caution with that. And then the thing is that I just felt that the combat really wasn't, it was funny on my show when I did the stream of it, I put Arkham next to it, and you look at the both of them next to each other, and it's like, which one's coming out in May? And you'll be shocked to think that the Suicide Squad, I know it's a different aesthetic, but apparently it's the same world. They're saying it's the same world, and it's Metropolis, obviously. But you look at the two of them, and it just looks like the tone of Batman, and he's not having guns, he's doing the moves that a Batman does. And then you look here, and I'm not a huge comic book junkie that I'm like, well, that's not the lore and all that other stuff. But I know that the Shock guy is a brawler, and he shouldn't be moving the same way as Harley Quinn. He should be on the ground, climbing buildings almost like a Hulk, and having a different move set. It just looks like that their specialties are the differentiator, but they're all going to use all the guns and flipping around, and their loadouts are set up like Destiny. And it just seems like they're all mapped equivalent for their loadouts, but their movement looks pretty similar.
Jazz, let me ask you a question though. I thought and I know the audience may not agree with me here, but I didn't care for any of the Suicide Squad movies.
No, I like the recent one. I like that take. That was pretty wild.
The recent one was the better of them, but I'm just saying.
John Cena was in it and stuff like that. Like that. I like that one.
At the end of the day, the Suicide Squad. My only critique on Rocksteady is, why the hell did you pick them? You know what I mean? Like, that's that's tough to make a movie, let alone a video game.
2 movies they tried, right?
Yeah. So, and I mean, I understand that you guys saying you like the latter of the movies. That's fine.
I like the concept though. Hunting down the Justice League.
It's cool.
That's
but like you said,
I like it.
You almost have to take your sense of what the individual's talents are and put them aside, because if you had the Shark character as just the tank character, nobody would want to play that character because everyth's happening up in the top of the building. You know, I mean,
well, that's their decision to put everybody on the roof. Like, Harley Quinn is swinging. There's no she's swinging like Spider-Man, like in empty air, like just swinging across the. Like, it just seems like they're really focused on this aerial type combat and like them flipping around and jumping around and stuff. That's why I thought it was pretty interesting in the show. He's like, well, the detail of the city and the streets and stuff. I'm like, nobody's in the streets. Everybody's jumping around in the sky. Like, unless that's just a segment they chose to do, and it's not going to be like that. But that's what they showed.
Yeah, not sure.
I think that's a very fair criticism. I didn't think too much about it. I think, you nailed it. The streets are really well detailed, but if I'm 50 feet in the air, why do I give a shit?
Exactly. I'm playing on the rooftops, and everybody's on the roof.
Look at
It
all
could
the
be
people
that
walking
mission.
around on the streets. Where?
There's no
I'm
people
up on a
walking around, yeah.
skyscraper 20 stories
I
high.
think honestly,
And then the whole like the Bane gun with the goop coming out of it. I just was like, oh man, it's a cool concept, but I'm like, it's about the guns, and I'm like, they're superheroes. Like Deadshot has a rocket pack and he's flying all over the place, and then he's like hip shooting and stuff. He's not even using the scope of his power eye.
You know what's funny though, Jazz? Honestly, and this doesn't hold any water with the gamers that we all talk to on a day-to-day basis. But like Bad Bit made a good point where maybe I'm still like, maybe it's the youthful side of me just wants that like stupid fun game that I don't need to.
That's what that looks like. Yeah, it does
you know
look
what I
like
mean?
just like a
but it
game,
needs to be, it needs to be well made. That's the thing. That's where I won't bend. I'm willing to bend on the fact that you say, okay, well, you know, this doesn't do this. This doesn't follow the lore. This isn't quite what this should be. Okay, I got it. But if it's not a good game, like made well, polished, that's where you lose me. And I think Rocksteady will put out a good game. I just don't think, like Bad Bit said, this is not going to win Game of the Year. I don't think I don't even think it gets nominated.
Nah, I hope it's fun. Like I would like a full co-op just running around shooting stuff.
Right.
Like that seems like seems like fun. So we'll say
I gotta do speed round real quick. It's 9 o'clock, but I gotta do some speed round topics here, and this is fun because Bad Bit said it. So Bad Bit, I'm going to you first here. Okay, Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate couldn't have got better attention if they made it for an NES and an SNES system. They decided, whatever the system, the Xbox is not getting it. Okay, you know that. Everybody knows that. Now it's out there. And they're not getting it right now because of technical issues with the Xbox version. I'm not going to get too much more into it. I don't have the exact quote from the developer, so I don't want to misquote. And then people have been speculating that this is possibly an issue. This is speculation, not the developer. Developer did not say this. I want to put all that out there. They're speculating that it could be a Series S issue. So first and foremost, Bad Bit, I'll ask you two questions. First, you said you were excited for Baldur's Gate 3. Want to hear your excitement for the game. That's awesome. Two, where are you, Bad Bit? Because I haven't had the opportunity to have you on the show. Where are you on the whole situation? And we've got 3 games now to use, if not more. We've got Baldur's Gate not coming to Xbox because of technical issues. That is from the developer. We've got Hogwarts Legacy, which is playing better on the PS5. We have Atomic Heart, which is playing better on the PS5. When we were all told that the Xbox was going to be, the next coming of you know what. So where are you now? We'll start with Baldur's Gate 3 because it's funny. Shout out to the great Nick. He works for Iron Lords. He writes for ironlords.net. Nick is phenomenal. I love Nick. He's hopefully going to be coming back on the show very soon.
Nick Downey, right?
Nick Downey, thank you. Nick is a huge Baldur's Gate fan, and he's the one that kind of got me into it a long time ago, just talking to me about the lore and what you're missing out on, Mooch. You need to get in there. So I'm there with you on excitement for it. This has nothing to do with the Xbox, PlayStation stuff. I was probably going to even buy it on PC. But, Bad Bit, where are you on that? And then part 2 of the question, which being, the Xbox stuff that's going on.
So actually, he's the same guy that sold me on Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
too.
He's awesome, dude.
Dude, I love a good ARPG. So like, I am so hyped for Diablo 4. Unreasonably so.
Yes.
That is if Spider-Man's obligated to be number 1 because I love Spider-Man more than like life itself. And then a very close second, if it wasn't Spider-Man, they called him Spider Nude. Or Spider Dude. It would be Diablo 4. Like I'm so amped for it.
Yeah, Diablo.
And there's not enough of these games on console. Same with like the RTSs, right? So like seeing things like Age of Empires on Xbox, that has me excited because those games deserve to be played by more people. That being said, I don't care which console has the more teraflips and terraskips or all of that jazz. It is funny to note that, people out there, not gonna name names, really sold this each and every week. The Xbox Series S has more terafloppy flippily dupes than the PlayStation. And this is why every game is gonna look, it's RDNA 2.5.
1.5.
And then
I don't know what any of this shit means.
There was also it was like the ray tracing baked on a chip. Something was baked on a chip.
It's baked on a chip. There was a chef that baked it and put it on that chip. I'm not a technical guy in the slightest bit. I'm just playing games that look interesting, that look fun, and hopefully run well.
Absolutely.
Right? I can't tell you, and I'm seriously, I got dumb eyes. if you put something in front of me and you go, that's 4K. I'm like, okay,
all right.
I literally just take your word.
Okay.
I literally cannot tell you if a game's running at 60 FPS. I'm not kidding you. I cannot tell if it's running at 60 FPS or 120 FPS until you literally do the toggle.
Right.
But you can
Once you
tell
toggle
between
it in
60
front of
and
me.
30, right? You can tell that.
What's that?
You can tell between 60 and 30, though, right?
Sometimes. I'm
Okay.
dumb. I got bad eyes. I'm telling you. Once you give me the ability to toggle it, then I could understand, oh, this is why. It's kind of like, in Step Brothers when they fart in the interview and it's like, yeah, all right, now I could see why the suits are messed up. That's like what it is with me. I'm a simple gamer.
That was the best part, man. That movie
I was going to be silent.
But like to me, it's like once I toggle it, I'm like, okay, now I can't go back. So like with Hogwarts Legacy, great example.
Yes.
I wanted to take a photo
Mhm.
and I had it in performance at 60.
Yep.
And then I was like, let me go to fidelity mode. And I was like, oh, now I see this game moves way slow.
Yes.
So like, it's in those moments. So I don't necessarily, the arguments of like, well, this is the next game that plays better on this than that. It's whatever. Like I was gonna play Hogwarts Legacy on PlayStation, regardless of whether it ran better on Xbox, just because that's my preferred place to play.
And you get
And
more
it has
more bang
bonus
for your.
content,
You also
right?
get
It's
more
got the
bang.
bonus content.
You get bonus
Yeah.
content, so more bang for your buck.
Exactly. But the thing that is interesting that we are starting to hear, not just from developers, but some of the more highly regarded like beat reporters for Xbox, is that, yeah, it does seem like there is something with the Series S that is harder, or a loop that developers have to go through in order to get their games working.
I think it's the
on that
memory.
system.
It's like split memory or something like that. I think there's something with
The RAM.
RAM?
Right? The RAM.
Yeah.
there's something with the RAM. There's like split RAM between the
if
it's
they
not
only
fully-
just merged it together and they didn't even have to split
yeah,
it.
it's like something. I don't know.
But like to me, it's like, okay, so and it kind of goes back to my previous comment about like Quest. Like the Quest is a bit harder to develop for, but the Quest is a really large base, so they develop for it. Either though, it's a harder chip to develop for it because there's a large base, they go for it. So they're probably looking at it because they're an indie studio going, okay, the thing that is easier to develop for is obviously PC and PlayStation, right? After that. So we're going to focus on that because the majority of our audience is going to be on PC, and the PlayStation audience, I mean, Microsoft showed you the goddamn graphs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
It's like 80
So they're
20,
like,
that mind share. Like,
yeah, so we're gonna code for this next, and then with the round of funding that we're gonna get from day one sales of those, we could then go make it on Xbox, maybe even get like a Game Pass deal or something down the line.
Yeah.
In order to get this thing working. That's what I think is probably happening. I think it's gonna be a shorter delay than like I hope it's not a year. I want my Xbox friends to play this game.
Yes.
So I'm hoping it's like a 3-month delay and it's there and it's day one for my Xbox friends. But listen, if you have a Series S, if you have a Series X, I hope you're really enjoying the console. At the end of the day, you're gaming where you feel comfortable the most, whether you prefer the controllers, whether you prefer fidelity, whatever the case may be. It's about you enjoying yourself. So that's where I kind of
Absolutely.
fall in line, man. I'm very like, let's just love each other, bro. Let's just smoke weed and just have fun.
I wish I lived closer to Bad Bit.
Vibes.
That's what I learned. I just wish I lived closer to Bad Bit, to be honest with you. Outstanding. Great review and thought on that.
Thanks, bud.
I mean it, man. I do. I mean it. Jez, what do you think about this? I don't want to get Peniac's thought on it.
Yeah, I think this is something that we've seen. Like, first off, I'm not a huge Baldur's Gate fan, but I know that Baldur's Gate was the first time I played it was on an Xbox. I think it was on Xbox, the original, or the 360. One of them, I remember playing Baldur's Gate 2 or something like that on there. And I'm not a huge Baldur's Gate fan, but it just, the thing is that what we've been seeing with these third-party games, and yes, the Project Scarlet, Phil says you're gonna feel the games, and it's all about frame rate and stuff. And I think the biggest issue we're seeing with this is that, this is not 900p and 1080p. This is not a resolution thing. This has been a frame rate and some performance issue stuff that we've been seeing as the difference makers. Because if you listen to a lot of the comparisons, it's always like, well, they got the same assets. you know, they have the dynamic. Maybe Xbox has a little higher dynamic than the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But when they always come to the performance section, that's where you're seeing the differentiated. There's always weird hitches and the frame rate drops and it's not consistent. And you hear these words continually with an Xbox version. And also, too, you do see that the glitches or the things that are missing, like the reflections and stuff, are shared between the Xboxes, not between the Series X and the PlayStation 5. They're shared between the two Xboxes, and the PlayStation doesn't have it. So there's got to be something going on where they're either doing it on PC or PlayStation is the primary platform for development for a lot of these games because of the sales and the mind share, as Microsoft shared those numbers, 70-30 globally. You're not prioritizing the 30% for your main, you know, development. You're going to develop for the majority.
Yeah.
So they're developing for the PlayStation, and maybe in that porting over or what they're doing with the Xbox, they're finding issues, and you know, maybe those issues are happening because of the existence of the S. You know, and the other issue too is that the S seems to be selling. When you look at the two of those sales, the S seems to be the one that's the more dominant sales over the X. Like you can't even find the X right now. There's some weird things going on. I think Microsoft's gearing up for another console release. I think they're going to do an X with a no disk drive, or something's going to be announced this summer because they are definitely pivoting something with their hardware. And I think that's another thing that they got to do to kind of get back into this.
Jez, that may be the case. We've been saying it on this show for quite some time. I'll say it again. Majority out there, and you just said this, the majority of the Expo, and you see the numbers when they show PS5 and Xbox Series consoles numbers, and I know that we have the VG charts numbers, which everyone says are not 100% accurate. That's fine. I'll buy into that. We've never really said VG charts was accurate, especially with the Xbox side of things.
Greenberg did quote them.
He did quote them. I know that's what put them back on the map again. But
yeah,
you know, realistically, a lot of those numbers, I don't know where the number. I saw again today VG charts. It said 31 million. This is global, I believe. 31 million or 32 million PS5s, and it was like 20 million Xboxes. Of those 20 million, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm spit shooting here. You know, probably 11 or 12 are Series S's, if not more. So you know, when it comes down to it, even if they're pivoting. Think about it for a second. If they're pivoting, I don't think they're going to pivot with more power. They might pivot with, like you said, a diskless
an X
console.
That's like $400 going because they maybe make it as an upgrade for the S. But yeah, but the problem is that this is performance stuff, and this is the thing that Phil said coming into the series consoles that he was focusing on, saying that, you know, we've hit 4K already with the One X, and his marketing term was that you're going to feel these games better. So you're thinking that you're going to get best frame rate games, and you're looking at comparisons between the PlayStation. And I think the obvious thing is that the PlayStation was optimized to play games. And for some reason, whatever they did with this Xbox, I think this Xbox was more optimized to be a server blade for their cloud system, because that's the reason why I feel like the console exists for them now, is that this is going to be something thrown in the server blades. And maybe that's where those Series X's are. They're powering their X Cloud, because that's why they're shaped the way they are. They're for blades, for a server, because that's their future. They want you make a game for Xbox, that's a game for X Cloud. So these things, once they get traded in or whatever, they can start putting them in the blades. And that's where I think PlayStation built a thing designed to play games and easier to develop for. We even heard it as they were preparing the launch of these consoles. We heard developers coming out going, the PlayStation just did this, even after that Sony presentation that put everybody to sleep.
Yes.
You know, it was like the PlayStation's made to play games. Like this system. They heard us. They put it. This is made to play games. Even the decision with the memory, with the SSD expansion, how that has dropped in price, and the Xbox chose a proprietary memory card that's still at $400, and the PlayStation you get $199 for a 2 terabyte machine card.
Yes,
and they did open market, and Microsoft still has not have another partner besides Seagate. So the decisions they made with this Xbox has been kind of crazy, but the fact that it's hurting the performance, that's a huge thing to gamers, because you feel that stuff. You wonder why your game is hitching and things like that, and that's bad. Like I would take 900p over 1080p problems. I'll take those problems over the problems of this, because that's affecting your game.
Yeah, no, that's an outstanding point. Peniak, you got anything on this? I do want a speed round. I want to get into another topic.
I don't want to waste breath on the S. So let's go. Next time.
Hey, Mooch, I want to say something real quick.
Sure, baby. Go ahead.
It does look like, based on the developer.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
Huh?
For some reason, Mr. Badbits, you know when someone speaks in Discord, there's a green halo around your icon.
Yeah, my light will forever be on.
Yeah, his is always.
I thought he was talking the whole time.
Badbit, that's fine, but that's why when someone said I was looking at the other screen I have, I looked over real quick. I saw Badbits lit up. That's why I said Badbit. But Brad, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just reading what the developer said.
Yes.
And they said that specifically we've been unable to get split screen co-op to work on the same standard on both Xbox Series X and S.
Yes.
Which is a requirement for us to ship. So that leads me to believe that one of the two consoles isn't running co-op the same way the other is. And look, I think we can kind of connect the dots just looking at the hardware specs. It's probably the Series S that's causing the issue here. So,
I would think so.
Yeah, and look, I think it's unfortunate, and there's some diehard Xbox guys that come in this chat every week. Stop listening to people who've never written a line of code, who've never made a game, who aren't hardware engineers, who are trying to regurgitate things that they may have or may have not heard. Stop. Just enjoy your games. Enjoy the platform that you've chosen. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
But stop with the hopes and dreams. It's ridiculous. Like, it's gotten to the point now where we're seeing tangible evidence of some of the things that I talked about. When I would tell people, "Hey, pump the brakes." Yes, the Xbox Series X is a great console in terms of what we saw in terms of specs.
Yep.
But like the great Optimus Code said, it's not just hardware. It's everything else.
Yeah.
Talent, tools, resources, and no one listened. They went and they listened to the people who were talking about these wide deltas, and it never happened. So guys, just stop listening to the people that are playing on your emotion, that are profit offing your emotion, and just enjoy your video games, because that's what it's all about. I mean, like I say, the Xbox is in third place, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy playing your games on Xbox, have fun. Like I bought the OG Xbox and 20-something years ago because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I was an Xbox Live beta.
Get out of here!
No,
Holy
this is true.
Wow,
this is true.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
My God. You heard it here first.
So Mr. Badbit saying brute force that really
resonated with your soul, didn't it?
Resonates, But look, that console was in third place. It didn't have a flying chance of surviving, only for the fact that it being backed by Microsoft. I loved it. I loved it more than my PS2.
Yeah,
I never had a PS2 because I had an Xbox original. I went from GameCube to Xbox. Never bought a PS2. Shame on me, but never did.
Stop listening to these conspiracy theorists, these people that are just spouting out nonsense, that have never developed a game in their life, or written a line of code, or created or put together hardware in their life as engineers for a company, and just
we heard some of this stuff, Brap, that you're saying. Like, forget anything that's happening on any podcast. We heard from developers from Remedy. We've heard from others that they've been a little bit quiet because the minute anybody would say anything, they would get attacked and this and that. Like, they said that there was probably going to be a possible problem with the Series S and having that work hand in hand with, because I think one of the other things that the developer did say, and Brap, you actually have the quote, if not whatever it is, the article in front of you.
Yeah,
but I believe Microsoft mandates that games that come on their console have to work in parity for the S and the X, or you know what I mean? Not parity, like
you gotta make it for the S.
Case, but I'm not sure if that's the case. Like maybe it is.
But
but clearly in this,
they have to ship together, and they have to ship working together.
You can't make a Series X exclusive, from what right. What they were clear. I think you got to make a Series.
That's what I mean by parities. They have to work. They have to. Whoever, if
you got to use both of them.
If you're a third party team and you're making a game, it has to work on the Xbox Series X and the S.
But look, the thing about this whole thing about which console's more powerful, it's so irrelevant, because at the end of the day, the
Nintendo Switch is outselling everyone. I just saw someone brag on Twitter, like, PlayStation 5 has outsold the Nintendo Switch in Japan for the past 4 weeks. It's like, really, bud? The Nintendo Switch has been out for God knows what, 5 years now?
2017.
I would freaking hope. I would hope that's the case. The obsession, and I do have to I got 5 minutes. But the one thing I want to stress here is it doesn't matter if your console's first or last. We have an obsession with like this team mentality. Like we all want to be the Yankees or the Patriots or whatever the top team is. We always want to be number one because it justifies the purchase. It's like that's not the case. Like there are games on the Nintendo Switch that are fantastic, that are must play, and it's not because the hardware is doing anything close to even 1080 at 60. It's because the games themselves are amazing. So reason why Mario is still relevant, Zelda is still relevant, they're selling gangbusters, is because at the end of the day, the core concept of the video game, the software itself, it's that power. And that's the reason why when we get into like these like the fanboy arguments, we're so attached to these things because we have so many great memories. Like I look at my Xbox, I remember Brute Wars, right? Or Brute Force, sorry. I remember Crackdown. I remember Halo 2. I have fond memories. I love that console.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I think of my PlayStation. I think of The Last of Us. I think of God of War. You know, like I think of Ghost of Tsushima, Bloodborne, greatest game ever made. You know, I'm thinking about these games, and you get that attachment to that plastic. It's easy to, but I'm never here to demean anyone's enjoyment. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day what is having the more terror skips or who is the first or last, as long as or if the game sold 11 million copies or 1 million copies or 1,000 copies.
But you know, the problem is not us. It's not the people that like the console. The problem is that the executives and Xbox themselves, they rode the train of the power and the tech, and they fed right into that stuff. And they pumped up all of us about what this thing is going to do, and the fact that they're just hiding under a rock right now, fighting with the FTC, while their system is not being utilized by the devs. Where are their ninjas to make sure these games are not doing this? Because it's obviously they hear them because they came out with the One X to fix the resolution problem. So what's going on with this frame rate problem? See, the problem I have is with their marketing and their executive team, because they fed into the Twitter stuff. They fed into the stuff. They went on podcasts, they went on tweeting, they retweeted, they went on interviews. They pumped this thing as the most powerful console, and now it's falling on its face in performance when Phil said that's the thing that they're focusing on. And he heard you, and he said he fixed the console with the One X. So obviously, what's going on here with this
marketing,
stuff?
my friend?
You know, it's like what is it? Marketing? But still, like the thing is like if you pay $500 for something that was marketed like as the most powerful console, it shouldn't be the one that's struggling like this.
No, I totally hear you. But boys, I gotta go. Thank you all so much for having me, and Mooch, thank you for understanding my lateness.
No problem,
oh boy.
Well, you know what we'll do? I'll reach out to you in a few weeks. We'll see if we can book another Friday and get you for the full 2 hours, Bad.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
That'd be great.
They brought up Brute Force, though. That was great.
Brute Force.
Memorable.
I like Brute Force.
Memorable on the show.
Love to Brute Force. Everybody have a nice one. Make sure you check out the trophy room this week. We got a great guest next week, an even bigger guest. It's gonna be a really, really great time. So go check it out. Everybody, I love y'all.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that, buddy. Awesome to have you here. You know, another thing I'll bring up real quick. Oh, BRAP, go ahead. I was gonna kind of roll with it, but go ahead.
Just so my point is, like, you know, just enjoy your video games. Like, if that's what it's all about, and it's like it's gotten so like tribal like and just so cult like, and it's just like it's such a perversion of what gaming's supposed to be. So that's just my 2 cents.
No, and that's true. But I think Jez makes a good point. A lot of this really did kind of all become what it was. I mean, remember, they sent the Series X to everybody. You know what I mean? Like if you just started a YouTube channel, you know, so they sent it to everybody. The mass marketing they got in the media. People, there was big, huge YouTube channels that were PlayStation only channels during the PS4 era. And then they turned into half their channel being Xbox. They're like, well, Xbox is going to have this and Game Pass is going to give me that. And so, I mean, the propaganda really did fly. I agree with BRAP. Whatever you have and you enjoy, I say it all the time. Even now, I'm excited for PSVR2. I'll never tell you to go. You need to go buy it. I'll never say you need to go buy it.
But it is very amusing.
It's a lot of fun. Sure.
Oh, damn.
I like Olive Garden, but Jez.
Here we go.
I'm
out of here. I'm out of here. We're not doing Olive Garden.
Jez just doesn't like Olive Garden, but it's okay. Like
the other issue. The other issue. Go ahead, Jez. I was going to bring another issue up that, and I want to say his name right. I believe it's Shinji Mikami, who left Tango Gameworks, and back when Sony did acquire Bungie, Sony, not PlayStation, Sony. They 1.2 billion of that 3.6 or 3.7 billion was to retain the staff and to give them proper payment and keep them, happy, because Bungie is nothing without their talent. And there's no better example than Halo. Halo, right? I mean, not to say that 343 didn't do an okay job with, Halo 4, but the wheels have slowly fell off, and that's because the talent left. And a lot of people said, well, some Bungie members and developers stayed when Halo 4 was being made. Well, no kidding. We can see that. But then as more and more left, you got Halo 5 and you got Halo Infinite. And that's the problem I'm seeing here. Now, you have Shinji Mikami, who's also part of the Resident Evil fame, right? And he's now left Tango Gameworks. And you see what happened to the Initiative. They brought a bunch of talent in. A lot of that talent left. Now they have to co-work with Crystal Dynamics. You see what's going on over at the Coalition. They had Rod Ferguson. Gone. Look what's happened to Gears. Slowly the wheels are falling off. So when everyone says, well, Mooch, you just got to let the ABK deal go. You got to let them grab this. You got to let them grab that. I go, well, but why? And what have they shown the consumer who loves the brand? What have they shown us that they can take over and do? And now there's, this is complete rumor. I'm not running with it, but there's a lot of people saying that Starfield is going to be coming in hot this year. And this is Bethesda. Now, Bethesda, you can make fun of Bethesda. Oh, they're Bugthesda. That's fine. But Fallout 4, this is apparently, they're running into problems. And I see a lot of people that have big Xbox channels that are saying basically that they were expecting by March to have that Redfall showcase. And there's no not Redfall. My apologies, everybody. Starfield showcase. And now that they're not, here we are March. So that means now it's definitely going to get bumped into the fall. And that's, so when it comes down to it and you do the math, it doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. So again, it's nothing to do with your preferred console. I have an Xbox. I have more than one Xbox Series X in the house. And so I want to play games on that as well. Here I am. I bought the game, the console, the day it came out, November of 2020. And Jez, I still, except for Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5, and I guess if you want to throw in High Rush, throw in High Rush. Except for those 3 games, I don't have anything else that's first party to play. I mean, if there's a game I'm missing, please let me know. I'm more than willing to try it out. I don't believe
Pentiment.
Oh, Pentiment. Yes, the great Pentiment. But you know what I mean? I think that's where the frustration comes in, Jez, and you've been quite vocal on your channel.
Of course, yeah. Now that I just think that, they have yet to really demonstrate the capabilities of their studios to utilize the hardware. We talked over an hour about PSVR, and the biggest thing is that we're not just talking about the technology of the headset. Like, wow, it's a great headset. I can't wait for games to come to really showcase this headset. They're here. We use them. We play them. And guess who led the pack of it? Sony led the pack with Horizon. And here's a game that goes with the hardware. That's what first party is there for. They know that the hardware is coming out.
Yep.
They know that their studios, their first party, have the advantage to know what the specs they're targeting, and that they could basically make a game for that to demonstrate the capabilities. They launched with nothing. Halo still never demonstrated the capabilities of the system. So like you look at here, and I said the Game Pass day one, it's all gonna live and die off of their first party, and they're sitting with studios they purchased in 2018, Hellblade. That's why I said that developer direct, very, very close, very finite. Oh, they're only focusing on the next 2 months or 3 months. I'm like, dude, but they have games that they listed out years ago that we haven't even seen any updates to. I think the Starfield, remember that rough rumor about the Starfield saying that, hey, if Bethesda really wants to release in the fall, but Microsoft is really pushing it for June. And now I think Microsoft's going to probably get their way, and it might come out in June or whatever like that, and it's going to come in rough. Like, they're having issues with it. Obviously, you know why?
Come out in November,
dude. Yeah,
at
exactly.
The earliest.
And you want to know? You want to know why I could say that this is probably true? Because guess what? We haven't seen any additional gameplay that what we saw last year in June, and that was a month after they delayed the game until sometime this year. We haven't seen anything. There's been no quick cutscenes. If this game is, and I said this all before about, if this game is as massive as it is, where is the breakdowns of everything? And maybe that will be in this showcase, but it's pretty crazy that we haven't seen gameplay for over a year, for just like last year June, and they didn't show anything on it. So maybe this showcase is the hour and a half showcase of breaking this down, because Todd Howard, man, when he showed Fallout 4, man, he was on stage, bomber jacket and all, breaking Fallout 4 with the dialogue, the combat, meat dog, whatever the hell the dog's name was. He talked about that game. They had a whole press conference at E3 based on Fallout 4.
Yes.
He talked the whole thing. So where's that for this?
And then the game released 6 months later.
Yes.
We got the whole Dog and Pony show June of 2021.
That was their first. I remember, man. I pre-ordered the friggin' the Pip-Boy and all that other stuff. That was an incredible presentation.
I think this is going to be a year. Like I think Maniac just said it. I think it's legitimately going to be a year and a half delay. It's going to be sometime in November. That'll be the earliest we see it.
I think it's silly
I think
June.
if the suits don't have their say, and you know what, I've also read rumors that the suits are going to have their say, and it's going to come out in June, and it's going to be a mess.
June,
which is why
when they want it.
June,
which is why I think it needs to be, if Bethesda has their way, it's got to be November, man. It has to.
That's what the rumor said.
It has to be November.
Wants it later.
But a lot of people in the chat,
suits want it. Suits want it for fiscal year, right?
Yes, they want it in June. They want it E3. They want it in they want it.
The chat is saying that they don't even see it coming out this year at all. And I mean, I tell you,
I think there's gonna be a showcase coming within the next week. I saw as one of those guys, Henderson or whatever like that, was like, oh, expect
Tom Henderson.
Was it Tom Henderson? He said it.
Well, no, I don't know if it was him. You said Henderson or something. I didn't know if that's who you meant.
Oh, it was one of those, one of those. I forgot who. It was somebody that was better than than it wasn't just some random person. Like it was somebody saying expect the announcement of a showcase pretty soon. So if they are going to do March for this showcase, they could be targeting June. I think. But again, they had a show without release dates. If they have another Starfield show with no release date,
I know Final Fantasy 16 slated for June, but June's rough. That's a rough month. And you have Redfall in May. You're going to do Starfield in June?
That's not good. But they did that thing with Forza and Halo.
Well, you know what? So great. Maniac, great point. Let's say Redfall, I honestly think Redfall, how do I say this? I'm excited for Redfall because I want to play Redfall, but I don't think Redfall is going to have legs. I don't think it's going to carry very long. But let's say it does. If it does have legs and it gets good, the minute it builds momentum, if they release Starfield in June, it pulls the rug out from under it. The same way they did with Forza Horizon 5.
Yep. They stacked them back and back. And then they had no games for a whole year. After that.
Yeah, why? I mean, stagger this out. Now, someone in the chat was like, Mooch, they don't want to have Starfield go against Spider-Man. Listen, that's a great console war discussion. That's fine. But I think that the fall is a better time.
Call of Duty is going to go against Spider-Man, and it's going to be close.
Well, Call of Duty looks like they're just going to get like a
2+.
Yeah, it's going to be the Modern Warfare we have with
made by
DLC.
Sledgehammer.
It'll still do well, but I mean, shout out to Kratos99. He says, Mooch, I think Microsoft is rushing Starfield so they can get it out by June, because rumor states that the investors want Starfield out by June, and the game was looking really rough. So shout out to Kratos99. That's what the panel was saying here. I didn't know about it being pushed that way. I really thought that November would be when we see it, and I think Spider-Man will be a September-October release. But I could be.
It was the person that leaked the developer direct. He said that he heard about the Starfield thing. They wanted.
Okay,
November.
that was not Tom. That was not Tom.
No. Tom said that there's going to be the showcase, and not showcase, but like the developer direct for this thing. He said expect that soon. He tweeted that out today. But the other thing was that rumor about they want it later in November, and the higher ups want it in June. That was by the person who leaked the developer direct.
Yes. Shout out to, by the way, I don't like to not read super chats, but I'll embellish it. Like Bathy J says, how many times did we hear fans of Xbox say the performance delta? So shout out Bathy J. I appreciate him being here. TrueWiddy says, what do you guys think of Baldur's Gate 3 skipping Xbox? We just talked about that. I want to say thanks to all you guys in the super chat. It really means the world to me. Kratos99, thank you for the gifted Mooch Maniac family member donations. Those are amazing. Shout out to DC Gaming, who also gave a gift of Mooch Maniac family member. Mooch, what was it? It was actually I think he gave a few as well. You guys are just outstanding. I want to say how awesome it is. I am so excited for this weekend. You guys have no idea. Just to get back to a gaming related thing, I am so excited. Like, Jazz, you have no idea. Peniac, I am literally going to meet you guys. I don't care. I'm going to bother you guys to death. I just don't. I'm a mooch. That's what I do. I am going to be bothering you guys to get on PSVR all weekend and play this thing. I'm so excited to enjoy some games.
We got to try Pavlov. I want to get that next. That shooting game, dude.
Pavlov and After the Fall. If you guys don't have After the Fall.
After the Fall, I'm going to get to.
You got to get it because, listen, I talked to the great Persona who was on the show tonight. Persona talked to me for about 15 minutes before the show. Maniac was there. He could not stop talking about this game. So
yeah, they were. He was.
It was just
which one? After the Fall.
After the Fall. And the Star Wars Edge of the Galaxy.
I watched their dev diary on that. That was pretty damn cool.
I'll tell you, it's gonna be a very expensive weekend for me in PSVR land.
Just remember, you got to take it in short bursts, though. This is what happened to me. I got wild because I was so excited when it launched, dude. I got on the kayak. I went right into the ocean and the storm. I got myself seasick. I had to then that's it. I had to take it off. I'm like, whoa, that's it. I'm done. I was so pissed off. I was staring at it, and I got myself all nauseous from the friggin' storm in the kayak game. I thought that would be chill.
No, you know what? That's great advice, by the way. I've always put myself personally. Usually 35, 40 minutes is 45. What I cap. That's when I cap.
Yep.
40 minutes roughly. I'll cap VR.
6 hours, sit here in VR.
No,
you're not doing that.
No, I did do last night. I downloaded the demo for the puzzling places, and I sat there.
How was that?
It was totally chill, totally awesome.
Wait, which game is it?
And you do a gigantic 3D, puzzle.
What about like Tetris? Have you guys played like Tetris Effect? I heard that's fun to play.
I played on the first one. That one is pretty that is pretty chill too. Like the Tetris Effect.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get games
also super cool in VR.
Mooch, get the drum game. $20.
I'm trying to get games that the family. I want the family to use it.
So
I want the family to enjoy it and have a good time with it. You know what I mean? I want the family to have that experience. So games like Tetris, other games like that.
I already told my wife. I was like, I told her I did the opening scene to Call the Mountain.
I was about to recommend.
And I was like, you have to do this. She's like, what do I need to do? It's like you just put it on and look around.
Hey, can you have
anything?
Can you have multiple?
My wife was totally.
Can you have multiple save files?
I agree. I did that twice. That scene.
Can you have multiple save files on Call the Mountain so that way I could actually experience it, then start over again and let other family members play?
I just went to new game after I watched.
Yeah, just make a dummy account.
No, just make it. Well, no, I'll just start. If it's just the beginning, I'll just let them play it through.
Oh, sorry guys. One of the things I agree. Like that one thing, like having some experiences, like just sit down and just experience like the high fidelity and the motion and stuff. I think that was one thing they didn't have. Like a demo disc, they just went right into games. Like, dude, it's just like right into games, which is great. But they don't have that kind of one. If you want to show it to somebody, like, hey, like I always did. The best one I had was like in the computer one was just the aquarium, or like you're underwater with the whale and the shark. You're in a shark cage and stuff. Like they had that one on PlayStation VR. I remember the demo.
Yeah, that was always the one you would show someone. Right?
Exactly. Like they don't kind of have that right now. They don't have like that kind of one where nobody's gonna go running into the wall and pull your PlayStation off or throw up on the floor. Like they don't have that kind of just like a chill experience. Like I thought the kayak was it, but when I got into the kayak, I kind of got motion sick with the movement of the waves and stuff. It could have been just like it was late at night.
That is a good point.
Did you do the you can do like the on rails mode?
Maybe I'll do that.
There and it takes you really slowly through a set path.
Yeah,
that's just kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good point that they don't really have. Like a lot of people were saying, like what they gave with Astrobot, right, with the DualSense and getting that out. They really, I mean, you could say that they've done that to a certain extent with Call of the Mountain, but it's not a free give me in the box. You know?
No, it's only that open.
Kind of do port Rescue Mission to the new one because I only played the demo for that on one, but that was phenomenal.
Rescue Mission, what was that?
Yeah, Astrobot Rescue Mission on.
Astrobot Rescue Mission. Yeah, that was great. I was surprised they didn't have that.
Now that wasn't. I don't believe that was a free game though, was it, Peniac?
No, it wasn't.
No, I bought that game.
They gave it away on Plus one time.
Oh, did they?
One of the stay-at-home promos or whatever. So I like have it, but
their free game. They just had a demo disc. That was about it.
Oh,
which had that. They don't have like they had the Shark Tank thing. We were in the Shark
Tank.
That
was a VR Worlds, right? It had
VR Worlds. That's what they needed. Yeah, because I want to see it with this
VR
with
Worlds.
this headset on.
Good point. I forgot about the name of that.
It had like the shark cage, and it had
man. The shark.
Remember London Heist was awesome.
Well, oh my god, dude, that was what you showed everybody too. London Heist, we could open the door and shoot everybody and things like that, and shoot the dashboard,
shoot
the window out.
Jez is literally an almanac of video games. It's fantastic.
They stick with me. There's some of the cool experiences.
I absolutely love it. No, honestly, guys, I've kept everyone here quite a long time. I want to say thanks to everybody here. I appreciate, and even Jez, you coming in here after you did your own broadcast today, as usual.
Get the drum game, Mooch.
I'm
telling you, $20. I'm gonna send you $20. I'm telling you, sit down there. You're gonna be like, yo, if you like it, do you like those Rock Band games and stuff?
Rock Band, like Guitar Hero?
Yeah. Did you like those kind of rhythm games?
I did like that. Yes.
Oh, yo, I got the guitar one. I didn't play it yet, so I'm not gonna recommend it. But it does use like the finger tracking, like the few fingers with the guitar game. That's, I think, $25. But the drum one I streamed earlier today, man, $20. That has all unlocks. You could change your different drum kits. You could change different type of drumsticks, and you could throw the sticks. And it's pretty fun. It's like it's really good. That's like the best.
The best commercial I could do is watch the stream you did.
Just watch it. Yeah,
I'm gonna watch your stream, Jez, tonight.
And know what else too, Mooch? The microphone in the headset is really good for broadcasting and streaming. You just got to lower the volume, especially we're loud New Yorkers.
Yes.
So like you gotta make the volume down a little lower, but it's pretty damn clear. It's a great microphone. So you don't need like a headset on with like a broadcast microphone if you want to stream from it.
I can just check my settings because I took a video of mine one of the first times I went into the VR showroom in GT7 and I was talking. Because it was super awesome.
Yeah,
and I watched the video, and then I watched the video back. Because like there's no voice, so okay.
Oh yeah, check because you could also map the function button to be a mute button as well.
Yeah, I haven't done that because I want the
pass through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, you can map. Wait, say that one more time so everyone can hear.
You can map the function button to be a mute button if you don't want the microphone to be detected. Like if you go into party like games and stuff like that, you don't want everybody to hear the microphone, so you can use that function button, that pass through, and make it. If you tap it, it's a mute button. If you hold it, it's the pass through or something like that.
Oh, okay. And that's on the helmet.
Yeah, on the helmet. Yeah, the function button.
Okay. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see everybody here. This is really great. I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna let Jez and I'm gonna let Maniac go back and play video games at some point.
And one other thing, Mooch, I'm so excited about this thing. One other thing, I know you got to go. You know that there's the capacitive touch on all the buttons on that thing. Like you don't need to press them all. Some of them you just tap. You rest your finger on the buttons and it detects all the buttons.
Now, is that in game or is that just for PS menu?
No, that's for in game. Like you'll see, like even Horizon, like you don't have to press the button. You just move your hand a little bit, and if you rest your hand on the button, it detects it. They all have capacitive touch to them, where it's a separate function for some of them. Where it's just like you just rest your finger on the button. It'll do an input, but if you press it, it'll go all the way down. So like it has that kind of detection. Because even in the drum game, like you don't have to hold the buttons. You could just rest your fingers like you're holding real drumsticks, and it just knows that you're resting your finger on the button, and it'll do the same action.
But
all the buttons have that.
Like I said, I would never tell anybody on the channel that you gotta buy it, but I'll tell you, if you're looking to literally take your gaming experience and just move it up a notch, especially if you're new to VR. Like I said, I've been using the MetaQuest 2 has been something that I've been dabbling with, and once Resident Evil 4 came out on it, I really enjoyed it. That's what kind of got me going on it. Now, the fact that I can play Resident Evil 4 Remake on PSVR 2 at some point in 2023 is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So that's something I can't wait
for horror games. So
you know what though, but Maniac, you know what? But that's a game you could play.
They made me go into that was so funny because I was playing the shooting gallery in Resident Evil 8. And
I tried that last night, and that's as far as I got because
as soon as they gave me
I want to go into it.
Yo, exactly. As soon as they gave me the flashlight and said go get the fuse, and I'm like in the garage, I'm like. Yeah, I'm not.
You guys can laugh all you want, but I'm definitely gonna be playing that Switchback VR
right now.
Switchback VR's got my name written all over it.
Oh yeah,
that's next month, right? Is that March?
I think so. Yeah, they delayed. Yeah, it's like mid-March or something like that.
It's not May, right? It's March.
No, it's March.
No, it's next month.
Like a couple weeks.
And then you see that Ghostbusters game? They didn't have a release date on that. If you look at the Ghostbusters game, that looks pretty fun too. That didn't come out. It's not. They have it on the
game. Yes,
the game PSVR2. You could look at a trailer of it, but it's gonna be a 4-player online Ghostbusters.
Nice.
Oh, that'll be great.
Made by Sony VR Studios or something like that.
I appreciate that. Shout out to Matty Beast. Mooch owns Friday nights, has for years. Thank you so much. The great Matty Beast. Matty Beast's been with me since like 2014. The great Matty Beast is here. Great to have everybody here. Let me go in reverse order here. Jez, Let people know where they can find you. And thanks, like I said, thanks again. I know you did a stream today and you've been podcasting through the week. Let people know where they can find you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Nah, no worries, man. And I said I was going to be on for a short time, but you know what? We got into the conversation.
No, it was great.
Hell yeah, man.
It's great.
It's going. Yeah, I appreciate the invite. Yeah, you can find me at Gaming Grindhouse, Jez7780 on YouTube, and then Jez7780 on Twitter. But yeah, I did unboxing. I did some stream. I'm going to be doing some more live streams as well with the PSVR. And yep, check it out over there. Did a couple. And my show is on Monday night at 8 o'clock, the Gaming Grindhouse.
Appreciate that. And the great Peniac Giant. Peniac, let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, want to say thanks again, Mooch, for hosting. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for the panel. Thanks to the chat. You guys are awesome. You can find me on Twitter at Peniac Giant. Same handle on PSN. And I'm also a panel member on Gaming Beyond the Box, which is Sunday nights at 7 Eastern.
Appreciate that, Peniac. Thank you so much. And I want to say special shout out, thank you to Olamoka17. Olamoka, it was so funny. We had such a great conversation the other night on PSN, and I didn't know. He just hit me up, and we were going back and forth, and I'm just like, hey, you know what? He's like, oh, great, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about some games. We're talking about this and that. And he goes, just so you know, this is Olamoka17. And I know Olamoka. He's been with me here for a very, very long time. I said, but I didn't even know. I didn't know that was you. I said, we were just having a good conversation. So shout out to Olamoka. He says, Mooch, you are the best. He says, just so you know it was me who saluted you the other day on PlayStation. Play some VR games on me. Olamoka, thank you so much for the super chat. And thanks for that great conversation. And please do hit me up anytime on PSN, Xbox. Doesn't matter. Hit me up. We'll game. We'll do whatever you guys want to do. That goes for anybody. I've always loved to have great conversation, whether it be here on podcasts or on anything, any type of gaming network. I don't care. I'd say Nintendo, but that's a little too complicated. We have to get phone numbers involved. No, just kidding around. Guys, I want to say thanks so much. I do want to give a couple shout outs real quick to everybody that was here. Shout out to the great Jay Bari. That's at JBari _ on Twitter. You guys know that him and Gaming with Persona who's also on the show, are doing What's Up PlayStation tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Please don't miss that show. It's a phenomenal show. I'll be in the chat. You guys know that. And I want to give BRAP. I'm going to give everyone a bit of a plug here real quick, so pardon me. I've got the list here. Shout out to BRAP. BRAP is at BRAP _ podcast. And he does BRAP podcast on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We had the great TCMF, and TC was on. TC doesn't do a whole lot of podcasts, but it's TCMF Games on YouTube. Go over and check out his channel. Outstanding content that he does. And then, of course, Mr. Badbit. I was going to say his name, but I don't know if he wants to say it, but even though he puts it on Twitter, Mr. Badbit is here, and he does the PlayStation Trophy Room. It was outstanding to talk games with Mr. Badbit. Hopefully we can get him for the full 2 hours next time. And then, of course, don't forget Xbot448. He does next podcast on Thursday nights. And the great Gaming Forte, who was in the chat, too. That's Gaming _ Forte. And he does DPS with the great slow-mo backslap. Guys, outstanding show. Thank you again to the great Olamoka17. Thank you again to the great Kratos99 and all the super chats. It means the world to me, guys. We'll be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be here Monday to do the reaction show for The Last of Us on HBO, 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday night. So don't forget, we will be there. Yes. It's going to be great. Left Behind DLC, baby.
Yes, indeed.
So, guys, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, we helped you guys with PSVR2. Maybe either pushed you in the direction to get it or pushed you away from it a bit. Either way, I want to say thanks to everybody. We'll see you next Friday here at 7 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy your weekend, and peace and good night.